All right. And
Recording in
Zencaster
progress.
is going.
Okay.
So we will start this shindig.
I guess we'll start this thing that we're gonna do.
Yes.
This is my energy throughout the entire thing. No, it won't be.
Excellent.
Maybe it will. You never know. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see
It'll
what
definitely.
happens.
It would be a different episode.
It's gonna be a weird one. This is gonna be a weird fucking episode. So I can already tell this is gonna be a weird one. This is just gonna be the most uncomfortable episode.
We'll embrace it.
Right. That should be the intro. Don't even welcome this week on NWP. Welcome to the most uncomfortable episode we've ever done. There we go.
Oh, well, I was actually going to say is
no, you got
this week on NWP. This generic ass podcast is brought to you by Audible and Squarespace and Blue Apron.
Come in and put your weary feet up. Come in and gently close the door. Our time will leave you intrigued and wanting more. Remove your clothes. Listen to those headphones. Take off your pants. Relax.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerds Without Pants, episode 182. We cover everything while bearing it all. I am Julian, and I'm joined as always by Justin.
Welcome to Nerds Without Pants, a podcast about candy. This week's topic: if you put candy in your butt, does it become butt candy? A 3-hour podcast. Julian, if you put candy in your butt, is it then butt candy, or is there another definition that you use for butt candy?
I think when you put candy in your butt, it's still just regular candy. It's just being stored within the butt. Like, and in that case, the butt is just the packaging for the candy, if you will. It's not actually the treats that come from the butt.
I see. I didn't know there was treats from there. That's a place I stay away from when I'm looking for snacks. But anyway, I'm also dog sitting, so if you hear a bunch of weird noises in the background, that's my dog Abby. She's very cute.
Speaking of creatures that look for treats in the butt.
Yeah, exactly. She's hanging in there. We'll see how she does. There's another dog outside barking at another dog. I can't stop it from doing that. It's being a real dick. So if that.
But she's such a cute dog. She's such a good dog.
Abby's a very cute dog. There she is, right there.
I'm gonna be so distracted because she's just on your bed and she's just adorable and it's awesome.
She's super adorable.
Yes,
and except when she chews up shit. So then she's not. So
yes.
Okay.
All right.
Just wanted to get that preamble out of the way.
And expect this level of energy from this episode, folks. It's
absolutely
didn't get a lot of comments. Didn't we're both kind of tired. I think so.
That's okay.
It's okay.
I got some shit. I put together a thing, so we'll be all right, I think.
Yeah. So I think we should just go ahead and take off our pants, relax, and jump on into the stage select. Now turning the show over to you, Justin, because this is your stage select. Let the good folks know what we're doing, because clearly we did not make it clear enough last time.
It's either that or like people were just very busy because nobody commented on the cage match either. So there was also that. I think people got shit's going off. I get it. But anyway.
Oh yeah, but I meant specifically that the ones who did comment, I don't think they quite got the gist of the stage select.
I actually like what they went for. They had a good and decent interpretation of it. It was different from my own, but
yeah, it was like a universal. It was to me it was like a completely different take, but universally different. Like everybody went for this one thing, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
And this might be like not with our one listener. I know he's older than you are, but the other one, I kind of went, "Oh man, I don't know. Maybe it's just me and Julian that remember a lot of these like old generic bullshit characters." After a while, or just have memories that remember them. But anyway, I was looking for your favorite or least favorite generic character designs, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot. There's a lot of like discount dollar store rip-off character designs in video games, because that's just a thing people did, especially around a certain generation. And I guess so, because we didn't get a lot of listener stuff. And also, another thing I noticed is when you Google the topic, like if you go most generic video game character designs, nothing comes up. There is no list. There's no like top, hey, this is what we think are the most generic guys or whatever. Nothing.
Oh, that's weird, because I had already like found the show art for this episode, because I just typed in generic video game characters and got this wonderful like collage.
Pictures, yes, but articles, no. But
okay, that is interesting, because you would think that would be like ripe for
you would think
debate.
Right? That's exactly what I thought, and then I looked into it. And I was like, wow, there's nothing, because I won't lie. There was a lot of like there's some stage selects where I've looked at stuff like that just to give myself ideas, just to remember like certain video games and stuff like that, and be like, oh yeah, of course that. But there was this other guy, and he did whatever. Which that means, Julian, that we are the first most authority in this matter. So I'm going to take it very seriously. And
so what you're saying is this is a matter of science now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so I've broken this down, at least for me, into 3 separate categories, and I have started a list. So we are going to. So we're going to go for it here. Now, if I say something that's on your list, we'll go into more detail there. And this is in no definitive order. I figured we could kind of debate where these guys could go, but I kind of took some time here. So the first one I have is Marines. Sometimes they go to space.
Okay, so we kind of went on the same wavelength here, because what
Absolutely.
I did, I ended up choosing 3 characters, but 3 characters that represent an overall archetype. Mm-hmm. So like to me, these are like the 3 characters that represent these 3 types of generic characters.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's very good.
Cool.
That's very good. So I went the extra mile. I went and ranked these guys. Well, not really. I didn't rank them. I just put them on the list, and I was like, we'll sort this out afterwards, okay? But I have Marines. Sometimes they go to space, and sometimes they aren't even Marines. But they're all Xbox 360 as fuck. So power armor, shaved head men. Here, or sometimes not shaved head men. Okay.
But like 99.9% of the time, shaved head men.
Almost all the time, Julian. Okay, so number 12 here. This is I have top 12. All right.
Okay. Well, that's a really odd. That's a really odd.
I cut one, so it's only 11. I apologize. So number 11.
That's even stranger, but okay.
Yeah, I did. I decided against one because I don't want to get into it. There's number 11. I have John Raimi from Geist. Remember that character?
Oh, well, that was a first-person game, so I don't even remember seeing the character.
Look him up, Julian. Look him up.
Okay.
Look him up.
I just remember possessing the bowl of dog food as if that was like a thing that could be possessed.
It was the best thing going in video games for the Nintendo GameCube. Number 10. We have, and I didn't even look up his name. I just remembered that he existed. The guy from fucking Daikatana. He's very Japanese.
Okay, you're taking this in a weird spot, because like these are like the first person games. It's like to me those aren't as egregious, because
they aren't as egregious. Yeah. But that's why they're low on the list. We'll put those low on the list. You didn't see that character, so it didn't matter what they looked like. Now here's one I think you can agree on. Number 9, we have Nick Scryer from PsyOps: The Mindgate Conspiracy.
Yes.
Because
when you said Xbox 360, I was like, well, there's definitely a PS2 one that,
Exactly. It was a little, but to me, they're all like right in that time frame, like.
And when you, I didn't even think about this connection, but, because like PsyOps: The Mindgate Conspiracy was kind of like trying to, it was very Star Warsy with all the telekinetics and stuff.
Yeah.
And then fucking Star Wars The Force Unleashed is like the same character design, just in Star Wars land.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, I forgot it. Man, add him to the list.
Yeah, Starkiller is generic as hell.
Yeah, he's the most generic Jedi who ever lived. Absolutely. I almost, man, okay. Yeah, there we go. We have 12 again.
I would make an argument for the dude from Jedi Fallen Order, just because he's like...
He's an actual person, though.
He is an actual person.
Yeah.
He's just a very milquetoast person.
He is that. He has a good sense of humor. I seen him on a thing, and he was funny. He made me laugh. So
he does have red hair, and I'll get to that in a little bit, because at least his hair is not brown.
Indeed. So after that, I have number 8, or I guess number 9, because we added one. So number 9, we have Jet Brody from Fracture.
Oh, okay. Now Jet Brody that's the one that I chose.
Hell
Justin.
yeah.
Because let me tell you about motherfucking Jet Brody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Fracture. I actually watched the beginning of a Let's Play of this game because I've never played it.
Me too.
It's got some pretty good design ideas. Like it kind of scratches that red faction itch, and I didn't realize that's what the game did. Like, there's a lot of destructible environments and stuff like that.
Yeah, I forgot about the red faction guy. He should be on this list. That's 13. Shit. What's that guy's name? Anyway.
Dude, we could be here all night.
We could be all night. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, there's such a plethora of things to choose from.
Yeah. The thing about Jet Brody, and it's not, obviously he was not even remotely close to being the first, like, bald, muscle-bound space marine dude.
Yeah.
He wasn't the last, but they just didn't seem to try. Like, no. He looks like warm-up sketches for like a Gears of War game, but they didn't actually finish the character.
Right.
And then you get into the game, and he's got like zero personality, and also like just at least in the training mission, like the tutorial mission, dumb as rocks, because you're told right away, oh, you've got this weapon that can raise and lower the terrain. Yeah. And then the first time that he comes up to a place where you can clearly lower the terrain to get under a fence, he says, sir, there's this fence that I can't get by. And then he has to be told, well, lower the terrain, you can get under the fence. And then immediately after that, he says, sir, this wall is too high to cross. Well, raise the terrain and you can get over the wall. And it's like, wow, okay, like...
Jet Brody's great, dude.
and his name is Jet Brody.
I like to call these guys, like, it's been a popular thing on something I've watched, but from a few people, where they just, like, John Halo, and so, like, Jeff Fracture, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, a good example of this in movies was, like, I think the last time that they were able to get away with this without it being, like, just completely stupid at the time was John Spartan from Demolition Man, right?
Yes.
Like in 1995 or 6 or whatever, like, that was like, oh man, John Spartan, that's a badass name. You look at it now, it's like, that's so stupid. Like, that's just the cheesiest name. And that's exactly what this is, but this is like a full 12 years later. And it just doesn't work. And he's so generic, Justin, that he's not even on the cover of his game. The box art for this game is just a pair of boots standing on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have any confidence in him to actually, like, you know, because if they had, he would have just been standing there with a gun like everybody else does, but they wouldn't even go that far with him.
Right. Yeah, well, he made the list, so you'll be happy to know.
Jeff Brody, too. He should be way up higher on that list.
He probably will be. Like I said, I was basically doing this, like, as I found these characters and just putting them on there. So there's no order. Except I did save, like, some of the, like, the bigger names for the end. And I guess they're kind of like the innovators of this style. So we might just end up getting rid of them.
Right.
Number 8 here, I have a guy who's not a space marine, but, he has the same design, and that's Baldur from Too Human.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, listeners will know that I actually am a big Too Human apologist, even though that game did not deliver on any of the promises that they had been promising since the PlayStation 1 era. Like, right. I do remember the first EGM preview of this for the PS1 and getting very, like, interested in, because it was like, oh, this is the next game from the people who made Legacy of Kain. This is going to be amazing. And then it's fine. It's a fine Diablo style game.
Right.
But yeah, Baldur is not doing you any favors in the character design department,
no,
or personality department for that matter.
No, he was a blank slate bald dude. Like that was basically it. He had
to the point that even you can play this game 4-player multiplayer and you just all play as Balder. That's how
great.
generic he is.
That's fine.
Yeah.
No, that's excellent. You should all be Balder. That sounds perfect to me. Okay, number 7, I have Hayden Tenno from Dark Sector.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
He actually has hair, but
he does have hair.
He fits into a kind of a different bracket, but I will get to there. I'm sure we'll get to there. Yeah.
Okay, great. You might have a different bracket than I do, so I'm interested to know.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm skipping. So number 5 here. We have every character in binary domain except for Cain.
Dude, I don't know if you told me this and I just forgot it, but I just happened to see a video where they were talking about binary domain, just like, I think it was in like underrated games or something like that.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was from the Yakuza team.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
Like, I'm way more interested in that game now. And because I love it when like teams who work on like the same game over and over and over get to do something different. Horizon, more studios should get to branch out. It's really cool.
Yeah, that was from the Yakuza people, and it was basically like them trying to make like a Western inspired game for the most part. And it's weird. That game is so fucking weird. But all the character design, the story's like fucking complete nonsense. If you go in there with a sense of humor, it's great. It's amazing. Like, but if you're like expecting something like amazing from it, you're in the wrong spot, you know?
Well, no, but the things that I already knew about the game and like the story and the characters, and then when I heard that it was the Yakuza team, I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Because Yakuza, you know, as people know, like they have a lot of wacky, zany stuff in those games, even though at the core they're very serious, hard-boiled crime dramas.
That's why I said every character except Cain, because Cain is a French-accented robot. He's amazing.
Yeah.
That character is great. He's the best. But like Dan Marshall is the main character. The most American shit ever. You have the African American guy, Roy Boateng, also known as Big Bo. It's bad. Then there's like 2 other people from Europe or somewhere like that. I think one's from Australia, maybe. They aren't important, so it doesn't matter. But they fit that mold pretty well. Now here's the bigger ones, I think. Now I may have like messed up numbers here. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Because after that I have Marcus Phoenix. You know, he's a bigger one, but he does fit into that category, I think.
He does. I would say that, and well, because this is going to be a point that I bring up later on, but the fact that they at least did interesting things with his look, right? So he's got scars and he's got that bandana on, and there's also that like Bart Sears, like very beefy look to all of the Gears of War characters that, I mean, like it or not, that is an aesthetic that series has. And also it kind of started a lot of that aesthetic after that too. Like a lot of games did that afterwards. Like but none have quite
nailed it. Exactly.
It. Yeah.
These top ones are like the innovators of this stuff. Like they're the ones that kind of started it, because the next one, obviously Master Chief, he's Doom Guy. But like everybody tried to make that character after that. Like they tried to cash in on that. I know I'd already like kind of played this hand, but Master Chief was number 1 on my list. I figured as much. And again, like I went for like archetypes, and it's not that Master Chief was the first like person to just be in a faceless suit of armor, but he ushered in an entire legion of them. Yeah, absolutely, he did. Think about Time Shift and Haze and Dark Void. Character after character where it's like, oh, we don't have to design a character anymore. We just have to slap him into some decent looking armor and it'll be fine. And like, I don't want to say it's lazy, but, and you know, I mean, Iron Man is like one of my favorite superheroes of all time, right? Even before the movies. But Tony Stark is also like a big part of that story. Yeah. So it's like you don't just have Iron Man. Exactly. And so like having just like these faceless characters who a lot of times you don't even hear their
true voices because they're kind of distorted. They do like a little vocal thing to like emulate the sound or the what would be like coming through a helmet. It's very boring to me.
Yeah.
And I know people love Master Chief and I know people love that lore. Of the games that I've played, I've found him to be kind of nothing. Like if it wasn't for Cortana, like I don't think I would be invested at all in the storylines of those games.
Yeah, Cortana's, I don't know, she's fine. I've never been a big Cortana guy. Like
it's not that I'm I think she's a great character or anything, but she allows Master Chief to interact in a way that he needs, right? Like when we were talking on our Last of Us 2 spoiler cast, where we were saying like the worst parts of that game were when like your character was by herself, right? Because when she doesn't have anybody to play off of, it suffers.
Very true.
Yeah, and so Cortana gives that to Master Chief, like because I think it's Halo 5 where he doesn't have Cortana, and
Halo 3 he doesn't have her in the beginning. Because I'm watching a playthrough of that, because on Halo 2 you leave Cortana on one of the Halos or something, and she's learning stuff or something, but you keep getting these weird cryptic messages from her. It's like some weird flashback thing. And it's fine. She's not bad. She's sassy for a robot, but you know, it's or for an AI, I guess. She's not really a robot. She's an AI. You just plug her into your helmet or whatever. She doesn't talk all that much though. She's more just like a directions giver. We got to do this thing. That's like, at least in the original one, like that's basically what she is. Like in the cutscenes of like 2, they start going like, even 1, even in the cutscenes, like it's more of a back and forth, but most of the time during the missions, because you're the player and you don't talk, so because Master Chief's weird, he doesn't talk when he's killing child soldiers or whatever. The grunts look like little kids, man. Let's just be real. They look like little kids. Like I said earlier, like I don't like any of the Covenant designs either. It was pointed out to me during a playthrough I'm watching, and I was like, oh man, I can't unsee this now that they do look like little kids. Oh man. Well, and I could never take them seriously because like they're a joke from like the minute you see them, and they're always a joke, and they always they like run away from you. Well, I actually do like that. I wish there were more games where it's like, dude, you saw me mow down like 30 of your compatriots. Like, why are you still shooting at me? Right? I wish that like if there's when there's another Batman game, I hope that that's like one of the things they do with the AI, where it's like when you get down to those last couple guys who are just like, hey man, and they like drop their guns and like, I'll stop. Just tie me up. I don't care. Fuck it. Yep. Now at the top of this list, I did have Doom Guy at the top, but he was kind of like the first Space Marine, and a lot of people tried to chase that. But I also have, up here toward the top, Default Commander Shepard. Because I mean, that was the box art most of the time was, bald Commander Shepard up there with, I mean, Commander Shepard's great. Don't get me wrong, but like, and you can edit him however you want. So, but still like,
yeah, I never liked Default.
I never did either. I was always like, no, I like Fem Shep a lot better. She's cool. Like her voice actress.
Yes, but also like my male Shepherd, I feel was actually a more interesting design. Cause a lot of the complaints about, the create mode on the Mass Effect games is that, you can never make your character look as good as the NPCs. But I really felt that like my first Commander Shepard looked better than a lot of the NPCs, and I really loved his design. And like I said, my plan is to recreate him as much as I can when we get Cyberpunk. Yeah.
Mine always, what ended up happening with my like female Shepherd would be like, I'd have her looking really good in the character creator, but once it got into a cutscene, like it started showing like the shading all weird, and you're just like, oh yeah, that looks really bad and weird, and I can't. But yeah, a
lot of the hair in Mass Effect is bad too. That's really where it starts to.
I mean, that's just of that era. Like,
true.
We're just now getting to where we can actually put hair on characters, because everybody like in PlayStation 2 would always have like every girl either had short hair or a bun. Like that would, because, that's what we wanted to render. So, or that's what we could render, I guess. But yeah, that's the list for this particular archetype, I think. do you have anything you would like to add? I think I can agree that Jim Fracture, Jet Brody, I think he should probably be up the top. I'm pretty in agreement on that.
Because he was like the straw that broke the camel's back for this whole thing.
Yeah,
right. I
absolutely.
mean, there's still you'll still see it from time to time. Oh, there's a couple that I'll put, and I think they're great characters, but they don't really fall into the Space Marine, but they do fall into the generic bald tough guy. Cole McGrath from Infamous.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't remember his name, but the main character from Spec Ops: The Line, which fantastic character.
I was gonna say that's why I didn't include him, because like he goes
on a journey and it is very interesting.
He was like an actual Marine. That's why I was like,
True.
you know, like that's just kind of how those guys look. So because you do your hair the same in the Marines. That's just a thing. That's how that works. So like, that's why I was like, no, I thought of that one actually. And I went, no, I'm going to keep him up because he's an actual Marine.
That's a fair
stayed
point.
away from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think he belongs on this list, but, I also kept off the characters that were parodying this kind of archetype, like your Matt Hazard.
Matt Hazard.
Stuff like that. There was the guy from Time Splitters that was kind of doing the same thing. He was kind of a parody on that whole thing. But that's this list. Do you want me to move on to the next one, Julian?
Because I think we'll probably, depending on where you go, we might end up with the last one on my list.
It might be. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I got two more lists here. I got this one. This one will probably be pretty quick. So I have fighting game characters who wear karate gis. There's a lot of them. There's a good giant bomb list all about this, and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. There might be some on here. So I originally wanted to like look up a lot of the like rip-off Street Fighter games that exist. Mm-hmm. It is hard as hell to find any information on those though. Like and really? Remembering the names of them is like that's my biggest problem.
You needed me for that.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember them. There's a lot of them that were like only in arcades and stuff like that I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot all about this one. But I think I did good on this anyway. And I covered a wide spectrum of shit here. Some of which I had to look up if they were real games or not. So here we go. We have number 11. I just put these guys in the same thing. We have Hwoarang and Baek from Tekken. They had karate gis. They were less generic, but they had it. Hwoarang in his later iterations was actually pretty cool.
See, I never, now that you mention it, I remember the gi, but I always had him in the motorcycle chaps.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. He was actually
like,
pretty
I never picked any other outfit.
That's why he was at the bottom. We have Ryo Sakazaki from Art of Fighting and Fatal Fury. And
that was going to be the top of my list for this.
Yep. King of Fighters. We have, Basically, this is kind of the Hwoarang archetype here. We have Kim Kafwan from King of Fighters, and I think he was in Fatal Fury too.
Yes, he started in Fatal Fury.
Fatal Fury. Most of them did. After that, we have Paul Phoenix from Tekken. Pretty obvious one. There's
See, I don't know if I would put him because his design is so distinct. Right? Like, he is wearing a gi, but I mean, a gi is just kind of like, I mean, that's like a martial arts uniform staple. He
does have the cut off sleeves. Yeah.
He's got that. And I mean, the hair and like doesn't he have like spiked gloves? Like, aren't his gloves like a little bit studded or something?
I know he has a motorcycle outfit, but I don't think they are. I think I always thought he had his like fist taped up.
Okay.
I could be real wrong about that. The Tekken guys are kind of like, I just threw them on here.
Sure.
They had karate gis. This is another one. Makoto from Street Fighter. There's actually a lot of judo people in fighting games, which I actually think is an interesting archetype and should be explored more. So I'd actually like her to be more toward the bottom. I have Akira from Virtua Fighter. He's the
scientist on Giant Bomb will talk about the Ryu of whatever fighting game that they're evaluating, but Akira is straight up the Ryu of the 3D fighting game world, right? Like
absolutely.
that. Yeah. So yeah, totally generic.
Exactly. We also have here's one for you. I'm sure you remember. Maybe not the character, but you definitely remember the game. Ryoko Kano from Fighter's History. Remember Fighter's History?
Oh yeah. Well, that was the first game that was quote unquote a ripoff of Street Fighter 2 that Capcom tried to sue, and then they lost, which opened up the floodgates. And, you know, which was good because it really wasn't. And then also, like, if that lawsuit had gone Capcom's way, then the fighting genre would have just been dead in the water at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. They it's good that they didn't. Fighter's History, if you look
it's not a terrible game.
It's not terrible. Like, if you look at the character select, though, you're like, oh yeah, that looks like a Street Fighter.
But it's got Karnov in it, so I give it props for that.
Fighter's History has the football guy, doesn't it? That guy was great.
I don't remember a football guy. The only football guy I can think of is the one from World Heroes.
That's okay. I'm getting World Heroes mixed up with Fighter's History. Got it.
Yeah.
Yep. You're right. You're absolutely right.
You can't really call World Heroes. You can't really give them generic. I mean, maybe Hanzo and Fuma, but even then, I'm hesitant because World Heroes has just a bizarre cast of characters.
Right. I agree. We have Anthony Hawk from Battle K Road.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, you should look that one up, man. It's something. Was
that on a console or was that just like an arcade game?
I don't know. It's an SNK. It's definitely an arcade game.
Okay. That's
SNK
why.
though.
My knowledge of SNK is a little bit dicey, and yeah, I have never seen this before.
Yeah, this was one that when I seen it, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a Karate-gi man."
He looks like Sekita Sanshiro with a mustache.
yes, basically. Next up, I have. Now this is an interesting one because I know this is a real game. I've seen it working. I think it might be one of those like Chinese SNES fighting games, though. I could be wrong, but there's a character called Kao Li. From a game called Tough Guy. Have you ever heard of Tough Guy?
I've heard of Tough Enough.
Yeah,
that's Tough Guy.
Tough Guy. Look that one up one time. She's basically female Ryu. Basically has all the animations and everything of Ryu. Does like the high axe kick and all that stuff. It's something.
This does look somewhat familiar, but I don't know where I would have seen it. I don't think I've actually seen this.
Yeah,
it's like one of those weird, like, implanted memory type things. Like,
it's one of those things that you look at it and you go, man, this looks familiar, but I don't know from where.
Wait, no, I take it back. I know this because I looked it up one time because I think I heard about it and I was like, what the hell is that? And then I had to look it up. But yeah, I've never seen or touched this game.
Okay.
Me
neither.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Me neither. After that, we have a character named Sho from Breakers and Breakers Revenge. You ever heard of that?
Dude, you're making me look like such a noob tonight.
Dude, this is exactly the problem I had, Julian. And this was me going through a list of Karate-gi characters and going, what? I've never heard of this game. Does this even exist? And then going, yeah, it does.
Wow, I didn't realize that Neo Geo had so many, like...
Oh, they had so many.
Bottom-tier games that they never, like, re-released.
Yes, so many, dude. Like, there's a hidden bunch of fucking fighting games from Neo Geo that people just put in arcades somewhere. Like, you were lucky if you ever found them.
Yeah.
But they were out there.
Like literally a screenshot of this looks identical to the last game that I looked up, which I've already forgot the name of. The Battle K Road or whatever. Like, this looks identical. Like, if you just told me that this was Battle K Road 2, like, I would completely believe you.
Yes. That's pretty much it. And then at the very top, of course, I have the innovators of all that. I have, the Ryu and Ken and all that, the Shoto guys from Street Fighter, but they kind of, started the trend. So they're, number one. But they're not really generic. At least when they came out, they're.
Yeah. Like I could see somebody arguing a case for Ryu, but I think Ken has a very, like,
Ken's cool.
Distinct
I like
look.
Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, he became more than a palette swap too. Like,
Yes.
and like eventually, like he started like they were like, no, he's the Dragon Punch guy, and you're like, okay, he's the Dragon Punch guy. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So at the top for me on this, I don't know. I would think maybe Anthony Hawk would be the worst one. Maybe Show. Show, if you look at his animations, are almost directly reused. Like, they are almost directly ripped off. So I think maybe he wins for me.
See, for me, I got to go with Ryo because Art of Fighting was like literally like SNK saying we're going to rip off Street Fighter, and then they did it.
I didn't include Geese Howard because Geese Howard's fucking cool.
Yeah, no, that design is
fucking
amazing.
Awesome. That guy's great.
Plus, like he's got the gi like off the shoulders, like that
dude's
that
fucking
instantly
awesome.
makes it like a completely different look.
He's fucking great, man.
Yeah,
love fucking Geese Howard. Okay, Geese. Oh man! All right, now my last list here, Julian, and it might not be the archetype you have. So if it's not, I'm curious to hear what your number one is. So I have animal mascots.
Okay, definitely not.
Okay, all right, great.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Number 13, Arrow the Acrobat.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, this one is a strange one because it like the games are 100% generic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I would necessarily level the designs there. You know what I mean?
I do, because most of these games are just like, let's take an animal mascot, we'll make him somewhat cool because we wanted to chase like either Sonic or Mario, usually Sonic. This was the let's chase Sonic. Let's get that Sonic money. But it was animal mascot, make him edgy and cool. And that's our ball game. So to me,
if you put Sparkster on this list, Justin, so help me.
I don't think Sparkster's on here. I also, I a lot of lists for animal mascots that I looked up included Cool Spot Superstep, and I did not put him on the list because he's too cool. All right, he's too cool. I wouldn't.
He's also not an animal.
He's not an animal, exactly.
Yeah.
But there are some that are not animals. I will.
Okay, well, this whole list is flawed.
It's okay. Well, we'll just say weird mascots. Okay, weird mascots. That's what
I'll
the
accept
list
that.
is. Okay, all right.
Pepsi Man.
After that, we have Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
That would probably be the one that I would put at the top.
Okay,
because when I think generic mascots, I always think of Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
We might have a fight here because I have a different number one than you. Now, these aren't in order. So we at number 11 we have Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel.
Yes, I really like his design though. Like, I also love his name.
He is a kamikaze squirrel. He's pretty cool.
Yeah,
he's cool.
Yeah,
okay, he's cool.
I almost want to put him like honorable mention.
he gets an honorable mention. All right, I'm fine with this.
Awesome Possum should be on there.
Julian, that's my number one. The Awesome Possum.
Okay,
that's the immediate one I thought of that's why I came up with this. I was like, man, Awesome Possum.
I can't argue Awesome Possum because not only literally the only thing that he has that sets himself apart from any other mascot platform game is that he can talk, but he's on the Genesis, so he talks very badly.
I will never forget. We did something at my school where we wrote letters to companies and somehow got them to send us things. And one of the companies was the people that made Awesome Possum. And they sent us a box of Genesis games. Now, I didn't have a Genesis, but my friend did. And he, it was something like if you read books, you got points or whatever, so you could bid on these items. It was like an auction thing or something. It was weird. It was entertaining when I was in third grade. This was third grade. And I remember Awesome Possum, and I remember after that going over to his house and be like, man, this game's not very good, is it? This is not a very good video game. But he's like, but I got it for free and it's great. And I was like, no, I don't know about that, man.
Okay, I just want to point out that I decided to look it up on Google Image Search, and I only typed in awesome, no space, mind you, and Awesome Possum game is the first thing that popped up.
That's, of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? After that, we have, let's see. Oh, no, I didn't skip one. We just went straight to Awesome Possum. Yes. Number 9 listed here. Number 10. Here's a good one. Wild Woody for the Sega CD. Do you remember that?
Isn't he a pencil?
He's a pencil, Julian. He's a pencil.
Yeah.
He's walking around. He's doing things. I like him. I kind of like him.
That's like a thing where like they were trying to brainstorm a game, and like one of the character artists was just like, he had his pencil and he was just like kind of twirling it in his thumb, and then he was like, "My God, I've got it."
Pencil man.
and somehow that made it all the way to a shipped game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. After that, we have a real heavy hitter here, Croc.
Yeah.
Croc's pretty generic, man.
I really love Croc, but that is a generic, like top to bottom generic, like not just character, but also just the game is very generic.
Yeah, very much so. It certainly doesn't. It's certainly a PlayStation game, original PlayStation game. Number 7. This one's pretty obvious, but Bubsy, obviously pretty.
Man, I got a real soft spot in my heart for the first Bubsy game, but
what was the first Bubsy game on?
Super Nintendo and Genesis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a solid platformer of that era.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked, but he was on the Super Nintendo, so he talked well.
Yeah.
So, I think that's why I have such a soft spot in my heart for him. But yeah, he's nothing.
Now this next one, I don't think you are going to agree with, and I don't think I generally agree with it either. But it was on 2 different lists that I looked up. Actually, 3 different lists that I looked up. I cross-checked. I did my shit here, okay? And I'm just gonna say it. Gex.
Fuck you.
That was on the list. I know, Julian. I'm on your side, okay? I know. I'm on your side, but the universe was saying otherwise, so I just wanted to throw it on there.
We gotta leave this world behind.
Now after that, I have number 5, Glover.
Oh, yeah. Especially because he's not only generic, but he's derivative of the fucking Hamburger Helper mascot. So it's like,
God, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, you're right.
It's a failure on multiple levels for me. Yeah.
Now after that, we have maybe one I'm sure you're very familiar with this one. We have Titus the Fox.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was actually on this podcast where you asked me if I remembered.
That was their
Titus.
mascot. Yeah. It was on this very podcast. Oh yes.
Yeah. So I do have a soft spot in my heart, but simply because it was like, hey, it's a character with my name. You know?
Oh, I get it. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I will say that, like, I liked the Game Boy game because they did this really smart thing where they actually made the character with, like, this kind of white outline so he didn't fade into the background like so many other Game Boy games of that era. So I was very appreciative of that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Number 3, Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Jersey
Devil is right up there with Ty the Tasmanian Tiger for me.
Yep.
And actually, I forgot to mention Arrow the Acrobat. Those are like the trifecta of, like, when I think of them, it's just like,
Yeah. Now, here's one that wasn't on any list, but I remembered because of all the video game advertisements, and we can get rid of it because I don't know if it's generic, but I think it's fucking hilarious to me. And it's just like it's a thing I remembered, and that's Tai-Fu from Tai-Fu Wrath of the Tiger.
Oh, I wouldn't put that because I think his design is he's cool. Awesome.
He's cool.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Yeah.
And the game, I remember the game being pretty good.
I think it definitely is rough to go back to. Like it's definitely of its time, but like at the time it probably wasn't too bad. And number 1 here, I have Punky Skunk.
Yeah. I think Punky Skunk is based on some property. I don't think it was originally a video game. But I remember that as being like a rather late stage PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah.
I didn't play it. I just remember the box art because it's a terrible box art. It's just his face on a pink background with Punky Skunk on it. Yeah.
So, I'm almost, so we have at our top tier here, I would say Croc is probably top tier. It's bad. I would say definitely Awesome Possum, probably number 1.
Yeah.
For me. And then Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, probably above. Yeah, probably
if you put Ty in that top 3, I'm good with that.
Yep. Okay, I'm good with that too. That. And there you go. That's your definitive list from Justin Ham on all the generic video game characters. Now, Julian Titus has one more archetype that I've completely forgotten about.
Yes,
so I'm ready for this.
Well, Vanessa from the Square Roots podcast will probably be upset with me for choosing this category, but it is the floppy-haired handsome boy category.
Absolutely.
Justin almost spit out his Coke.
I did, indeed.
You know, like we can add to this list if you want, but the character that I picked to encompass this entire archetype is Nathan Drake.
Yep, that's immediately who I thought of, and I almost put him on my generic characters list, but I was like, nah, he was like his own archetype, I think.
Yes, and that's why, that's why so the listeners are clear. So the three characters that I chose for this, the way that I went towards it was, I picked Nathan Drake for just like the generic, like bro dude, character. And then Jet Brody was like the generic, like beefy space marine type guy. And then Master Chief for the generic faceless armored dude. Right. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So my thing with Nathan Drake, and I haven't played any of the Uncharted games yet. I plan on playing them because I do want to finally experience them. I'm just going to throw them on easy and blow through them. Me
too. That's what I do plan on doing the same exact thing one of these days. I don't know when, but when I get to it.
Yeah. So far, this has been the year for old games for me. So, like, old games that I haven't played or games that I'm replaying.
Yeah, it's a good year for it, because, man, ain't shit coming out, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get into it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in Consumption Junction.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, Nathan Drake came out in, I think, like, 2007.
Yeah,
so
somewhere around there.
I'm not even, like, because the way I would describe him is just, like, average built, white, everyman dude, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not even saying that, like, I'm not gonna like be like, oh well, like like you can't make like a white character anymore or anything like that. My thing is that if you're gonna make like a white like action dude protagonist guy, at least try to give his design some personality, right? The only thing that Nathan Drake had going for him in that first game was that he had a half tuck on his shirt. That was the big thing. Like it was literally in articles like Nathan Drake has a half tuck. It was like this amazing bit of design, and it's like. Yeah, but he's just like this, like, dude with like brown hair and he you could call him John Everyman, and it like that's who he is, right? Like you don't really see like guys with blonde hair or like green eyes or even guys with like give him a scar or like give him an eye patch or like make him wear glasses, like something. Give me something. To where he just doesn't look like this regular bro dude, right? And so I like circling back to Jedi Fallen Order, because I did like call out that character as generic. At least he's got red hair, right? You don't really see a lot of like red haired protagonists, so it's like that's something. But yeah, it's I just find him incredibly boring. Now, again, I'm sure his character is extremely interesting.
I was going to say, I know. Character-wise, I know he has a pretty interesting arc. I know he's got like a roguish charm type thing going on. I know I've watched like bits and pieces of that game here and there, and like he always seemed like charming in his own way. So like like I think that might make up for it. I don't know. He might have some cool stuff going on, but I'm like you. I'm a little uninformed in that. The only character I can think to add to a list about these guys, because I didn't look anything Nathan Drake clone, but the first one that comes to mind is fucking Alex Shepard from Silent Hill Homecoming. Yeah. I mean, he has the haircut, and like he's a handsome Silent Hill boy, I guess.
Hey man, I love this game, but I would put Alan Wake on that list too. Booker DeWitt from BioShock Infinite. They, like literally like when I looked up like this generic protagonist thing, like there was just so many like brown haired and brown short hair, right? Like just, and then floppy in the front, like it's just all over the place. And it's just
absolutely
like, come on guys, like let's mix this up a bit.
Yeah. I think we have become the definitive, source for generic character designs in video games, Julian.
100%.
Yeah, look no further.
They're going to use this for game design courses moving forward. Like
absolutely,
this
is what to avoid when you make your game. Don't if you want to. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad we did this.
So am I.
right.
Now, we didn't get a lot from listeners, but
Indeed,
I would like
we
to
did not.
say, yes, over on Facebook, we only got one, but it's from someone who apparently has been listening to the show for a while and has just never interacted. So,
that's
welcome,
good.
Chris Murray. We're very happy to have you here.
Hello, Chris.
Yes. And he says, hey, NWP, told you I would get around to submitting for the next episode. Stage select. Favorite, least favorite generic video game character. I'm going old school on this one. Favorite generic character would be the Red Koopa Troopa. Red Koopa Troopa. No better feeling than jumping on one of those and having that shell lock on to a target and take it out. Be it by itself, being eaten by Yoshi, and raining down fire on Mario's enemies. Or in Mario Kart, holding on to all three as a shield and waiting for my sister to drive by and hit her with all three at once. In contrast, least favorite would be the Green Koopa Troopa. Why do the green ones always backfire and hit me in the face? It's very fair, Chris.
Never been a big fan of the green ones. Yeah, they're bastards. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so this is like the first one where like I think like pretty much all the comments were kind of like they took like the grunts of like whatever like game they were looking at. So it was kind of, because the Koopa Troopers are sort of like the Stormtroopers.
Right.
Well, maybe more like the Crimson Guard of the Mario universe. I would say the Goombas are the actual Stormtroopers.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Imperial Guard is probably a little bit too highfalutin for Koopa Troopas, but it's a labored analogy.
Does that make like the magician Koopa that shows up in some games? Does that make him like the guys that work the ray on the Death Star that don't have a rail?
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about?
Absolutely, yeah.
The big helmets, those guys. Okay, great. Awesome.
They've got such big helmets.
It's so big. Why do they need to be so big? What are they protecting themselves from? It's impossible to know. All right, are we on Pixelbit now?
We are, sir. We've got two, so if you want to take the first one, I'll take the second.
Did we get two? I'll be goddamned. Yes. All right, good, because I only wrote the first one down, so that's great.
All right, this works out perfectly.
Perfectly indeed. Our buddy San Andreas, thank you for chiming in here. He says, number 1, Octoroks, Levers, P-Hats, Moblins, and Lionels from the Zelda series. Zelda has an awful lot of memorable mooks, actually. The first 4 have remained mainstays that give Hyrule its unique look, and Nintendo figured out how to make Lionels as brutal in 2017 as they were in 1987.
Yeah, see, I would say that those are like the opposite of generic, right? Like, they literally marketed the first game on the enemies of Zelda, right? Like, that was literally the commercial was listing off the enemies.
Right.
Well, not the rap commercial, was the other one. I don't know if you ever saw the really weird, like, high concept, like, performance art one where it's this guy in, like, a black unitard talking about Octoroks and Levers and P-Hats.
I don't think I have seen that commercial, no.
Dude, it is fucking bizarre.
That sounds
Everybody
weird.
remembers the Zelda rap, but the guy running from imaginary P-Hats is maybe a better commercial.
Watch Zelda become a legend on your Nintendo Entertainment System.
Zelda! Octoroks! Which way to go? Good times! P-Hands! Levers! Zelda!
The Legend of Zelda. A never-ending adventure new for your Nintendo Entertainment System.
Zelda!
Okay, all right, I'll buy it. Now his number 2 here. He has slimes. Can't say much more about these. I even have a slime plushie I got as a pre-order bonus for the oh my god, the DS release of Dragon Quest VI. I, for whatever reason, thought DS. Man,
you thought it was an abbreviation for something.
I was like, what abbreviation is this? I was like, Dark Souls? No, that's not right. Now, slimes I will give up
These
on
are generic monsters.
These are pretty these are in a lot of games, too. So, I would say Dragon Quest innovated them. They, like, made them cool, and then everybody else, or, Dragon Warrior, or whatever you want to call it.
We'll say Dragon Quest. I mean...
Yeah.
because again, I don't know a lot about like D&D, but I'm pretty sure that slimes are like just a thing in D&D.
Yeah.
And so I feel, because a lot of these early like Japanese role-playing games were heavily modeled after Western role-playing tabletop games, right?
Yes.
Or computer games. So yeah, but 100%, like, I mean, the slimes are like the most basic generic enemy you can think of, but Dragon Quest took them and ran with them and
made them cute as hell.
Yeah, and they're like one of my favorite video game mascots, period. I also have a slime or a plushie slime, which I don't even remember where I got it from. I'm just glad that I have it. Like I don't remember buying it. But I'm glad that I have it. I would love to go to Japan because there is a Dragon Quest store that just sells slimes. It's just
nice.
It's just all slime merch.
Nice. That's great.
Metal slimes, king slimes, slime knights, just all sorts of slimes. Action figures, plushies, candies.
I don't even know what a slime knight looks like, but I would buy that. That's
right. You haven't played the Dragon Quest stuff.
I really haven't, but that sounds. I know slimes. I know what they look like.
Right.
I played like the smallest amount of like, I think it was Dragon Quest 8, the one that was on PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
I played like a tiny bit of that, and I remember slimes like coming up, and I was like, oh man, those are cute. And yeah, like I'm just like imagining them with a little helmet on. I'm like,
oh well, it's kind of cuter than that because it's a green slime that's being ridden by a tiny knight.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
And they bounce up and down on the slime bounces.
That's fucking incredible. Okay. Yeah. All right. I need to get on that train immediately.
You do. I really want you to play a Dragon Quest game, and I want to talk about it.
I will try to do that. I'll get into this something later because like I may need to put a call out to our listeners if they want to help. But number 3, he has Malboros. The giant plant monsters with big gaping mouths that stick with you with multiple status effects in Final Fantasy games. My first Final Fantasy game was 6, and when I played 7, they were the first recurring monster in the series I remember seeing. I hate those assholes. He says a-holes, but I know what he meant.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't hold back when you're talking about Malboros. They
they're
are the
dicks.
fucking worst.
They're fucking terrible. But I don't think they're generic. They're like terrifying plant monsters, but they're assholes, man. They're the worst.
Yeah.
Like,
man. Like the way that I play RPGs is that I make it a point to not run unless I'm almost about to die.
No, you run.
I run from Malboros.
Yeah.
Until I'm so over leveled that it doesn't matter. And even then, I might still run because I just don't want to deal with the headache.
If you don't have initiative, you might be fucked.
Yeah.
Like, that's
or a ribbon. If you have a ribbon, you're fine. But
if you don't have a ribbon on everybody, you're not okay though, because if they confuse one of your guys and then that character just starts hitting your other dudes, and I've been killed by this before.
Oh yeah, that's usually the way that they kill you.
Oh, it's so bad.
And the only reason that sometimes doesn't end up working is because they also blind you, so they're just constantly missing each other.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, and lastly on Pixelbit, we have Superstep, who says, Shy Guys really stand out. I like their design. Don't really have much else to say about them.
Fantastic.
Have the Shy Guys come back? Like, are they in anything other than Mario 2? Because I love the Mario 2 enemies, but I feel that, like, they've been relegated to that game.
So they're mostly in the Paper Mario stuff and the RPG stuff. They show
that's
all
right.
the time
in
that stuff.
Yeah. Because I remember them because I played Bowser's Inside Story last year, and they were definitely in that.
Yep. I've been watching a Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door playthrough, which that game's really fun. That I want to play that. Like that game, I'm like, you know what? This is cute as hell. To the point where I'm like, I might boot up that new one that came out. I might try that out. But yeah, they're definitely in that. They were in. I even remember them in. Also, they're in the kart racing game. They're aren't they? Keep thinking.
I know there's a lot of characters in Mario Kart, like in Mario Kart 8, but I don't remember all of them. Maybe he might be. That's cool if he is, because like I'm still waiting for Wart to come back. Like all the bosses from Mario 2, I would love to see in another Mario game, and they've just never, Right. I think that's because Nintendo of Japan kind of hates the US Mario 2 because it wasn't their design. I get it.
That makes sense.
Next up, Superstep says, the beetles from Metroid Prime are super annoying. I hate enemies who capture you for a few seconds where you can't really do anything to them while losing health. Yeah, the Morph Ball Bomb hits them eventually, but I hate how much time they can waste if you get around too many of them. That's a different type of generic enemy, but yeah, anything like that is super annoying. Anything that swarms you, I don't like. Especially if they're small and you have to do the thing where you're like backing up and shooting. Because they just rush you. I hate those types of enemies, like, because they're just not fun to fight, you know?
Right. I agree.
And then he says, my third and final entry, any generic military character that has a speaking role only to die in the next 5 seconds. Stop it. Stop it with that trope. I don't care about that guy. I don't know him. He doesn't even go here.
That's very true.
The only exception I would make to that Superstep is Carmine from the Gears of War series. Because like there's one in every Gears of War and he always dies and they're all brothers and it's kind of awesome.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I think it's Carmine. He's the one that he always has it's a full helmet. So you never see his face. He's hanging out with the bros with Marcus and Dom, and then he dies in a really grisly way. But then in the second game, you find his brother and he wants to avenge his brother's death and then he dies. And then, I want to say that like, they actually let players vote on if the one in the third game survived or not. Cause it was going to close out the trilogy or whatever. I don't remember if he survived, honestly. Like I'd have to look it up, but
I don't know either. I have no idea. The one that comes to mind for me with this trope is like immediately Halo. Because like the one guy, he became a character, but he was not a character. Well, he was kind of was. He's he's a black guy. He's got he's like the loud sergeant dude in those games. You know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name. I think it's like Johnson or something like that. He has like a really generic name because he really wasn't a character. And he was just like, he showed up and he was like kind of the leader of a squad, but like he became like an actual character in 2 because like people liked him enough. But like other Marines,
he's in 3 also. I remember him in 3.
Yeah. He's a big deal in that trilogy anyway.
He might be in 4.
He might be. I don't know. I didn't play 4.
No. Because in 4, Master Chief is like far away from the Alliance. Is it Alliance? The UNC stuff? Yeah. Because you're fighting those new aliens, but then for some reason you're still fighting Covenant because you have to in every single Halo game.
Of apparently. Course. Why would we not do that? But yeah, like every other guy that you picked up from the Marines or whatever was just like Yahoo! I'm so happy to drive this warthog or whatever. Be on the shoot badly from the back of it because nobody in the original Halo can shoot fucking worth of shit off the back of the warthog. Oh, I hate warthog parts. They're so bad.
Yeah.
We're over on Twitter now, right?
We are.
And we only have one on Twitter?
We only have one on Twitter.
All right. And it is our good friend Jeffka, who I don't hate anymore because he's the one person on Twitter. So he gets a pass today. I like you again, Jeffka. We're on good terms. At least I think we are. I don't know. We'll see later. But I'm pretty sure we're on good terms. Anyway, it says his state select, and he is by the way, he is at Jestoff on Twitter. If you would like to follow him. And he says, I think possibly one of the most generic enemies in video games is the Goomba. Yeah, the brown little mushroom guy with an angry face and big teeth. I freaking adore Goombas. They're cute as heck. In fact, the worst part about the best game ever, you know the one, is that there are no Goombas in it. Truly a missed opportunity.
Well, one of many reasons that game has issues.
I mean, I don't really, I'm staying out of that argument. I don't, I think that's for the best, but Goombas are great. I like Goombas.
I love Goombas. They're one of my favorite.
Oh man, Paper Mario does so much cool stuff with Goombas. There's like a little like Goombella, and she like follows Mario around and like has like, I don't know, the people I'm watching keep doing her in a Brooklyn accent. I'm like, yeah, that fits. It just totally fits. It's great. I love it.
I think I've talked about it on the show before. I know I have, but I've always had this idea for a DS game called Koopa and Goomba, where on the top screen is a Koopa Paratroopa, and then on the bottom screen is a Goomba that just is always moving forward. Because my theory is that Goombas and Koopa Troopas are actually two of the most lethal creatures in the Mushroom Kingdom, because if you touch them, they die.
Right. As
long as you don't step on them. Like, if you step on them, it's ball game over, right?
They're vulnerable from the top, yes.
Right. So you just have this invincible Goomba moving tirelessly forward, but then as a Koopa Paratroopa, you have to like pick him up and like move him over obstacles and stuff. And like he'll break through any blocks, but like he can't get over gaps because he can't jump. And then like maybe at some point like the Koopa Paratrooper would get like some sort of like spear or something that he can like chuck at enemies, things like that. I don't know.
I could see this. This either sounds like an amazing mobile game or just a really interesting little like DS game or something.
Yeah, like I've had this idea since the DS came out.
Yeah.
So and that's the thing, is that it would have very much been like a, I'm really only like using the D-pad, right? And like maybe one button.
I was thinking like stylus stuff where you like pick him up and like, make him float or something like that. And they like kind of, glides into places and stuff, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I've always loved that.
Is that it for, that's it?
That's a stage select. Yeah.
That's stage select. We did it.
Coming in at around the time that stage select is supposed to be.
We did it.
We did it. Congratulations.
We fucking did it.
Mission accomplished, everybody. We can go home.
We fucking did it. I'm very proud of us.
Cue Final Fantasy fanfare here. So I guess that means that it is my turn for the next stage select. And this is going to be a very different stage select, Justin.
Oh no.
Because I
hate change.
I fear change. I will stick with my bushes.
Exactly.
No, this one, we're not going to focus on us. Okay. I want this one to focus on our listeners. Which means that we'll need listener input on this. I mean, obviously we'll talk about this as well, but I want to know, like, we're now like more than halfway through this hellscape of a year. And it's been a rough year, and I want to know from our listeners what games you've been playing to help you through this trying time.
Yes.
Because we rarely get to hear like what our listeners are playing. And I think that'll be really cool. I mean, obviously, we'll talk about it, but like listeners know what we've been playing because that's what this podcast is, right? There's stuff that we can revisit and stuff like that, but I really want to know, like, are you going to like tried and true classics? Are you trying new things? Have you been like just like randomly picking up games on impulse because you got nothing better to do? I want to know. And especially, I know, with us being one of the top video game podcasts in Portugal,
yes.
Like if you're in a different country, like what are you guys doing there? Cause I know that like the games market is like very different, like in Portugal and Brazil and stuff like that. So, how are you spending your time game wise? Or, if it's other geeky stuff, that's fine too. But mainly I want to know like what games you've been playing and to get through this time period. Cause, oh boy, yeah, we'll get to it in a little bit, but my brain is done broke. But we will want those by 8:30 Central Time on August 21st. As always, you can go to pixelbit.com and comment in the show thread for episode 182. You can DM us on Twitter at NWPcast. Or you can go over to facebook.com/Nerds Without Pants podcast and either send us a message or post on the wall, and we will get that and read it on the Here podcast thing. But that is going to do it for Stage Select. So why don't we jump on into Consumption Junction? Justin, I'm just going to call you out a bit.
No, not allowed.
Yeah, no, yeah. Are you like... You having trouble? Like every time
what happened?
It's just been fucking Skyrim or Monster Train. Skyrim or Monster Train.
I've been playing a lot of fucking Monster Train, man. I'm not gonna lie. I've kind of stopped playing Skyrim because, like, okay, I played 120 hours on one character, and all that was left to do was the main story. That was the one where I was like, I've actually been playing Skyrim. All that was left was to do the main story, and I was like, I don't want to do the main story. And
Have you ever done the main story?
Oh yeah, I've done it.
Okay.
That's why I don't want to do it again, because there's a few missions in it that or a few quests and stuff that I like from it, but like after that, I'm just like, oh yeah, then you got to go do that thing, and then there's Blackreach, and I just said Blackreach, and somebody just fucking died. Their heart just fucking exploded because they know that I hate Blackreach so much. But I started another character. I was like, I'm gonna play a lot differently. I haven't messed around with like an archer character in a long time, and I always have trouble with them because like mods always like screw my fucking cursor up and stuff like that. So I got a bunch of stuff to fix that, and I was playing this thief that was shooting arrows and stuff. That was pretty fun. And then I was like, yeah, I did all the stuff that I want to do with this character, and I'm kind of done, and I don't really feel like making another one. I mean, I might eventually, but not right now. So I've been playing a lot of Monster Train. That game got updated, and they added a few little things, but I think they scaled back the difficulty like the slightest bit. Like it just feels slightly different, because I remember being on here like I'm on like the Covenant rank 3, and I think it's like impossible.
Right.
I was like, I cannot fucking do this. And then all of a sudden, like now I'm on Covenant level 16, and I have like now I do have 90 hours in it. So jeez, that'll do it. But like, I don't know, either I figured something out.
That's what I was going to ask.
It's one of those two. I'm not sure, but it feels like the runs got like a little bit better. Like, cause like, man, you could screw yourself up so easily in that game by just making a few wrong decisions, especially like once you get higher in the difficulty stuff. But, been having a good time doing that. It's just like a good turn your brain off game and just sit down and play. It's become like me trying to catch up on podcast game, because I know all the music. I don't need to hear it anymore, and the sound effects are kind of annoying, so I can just kind of ignore that shit and play podcasts. So that's been kind of nice.
Speaking of, because I had meant to like say this at the top of the show, but there is a new podcast that I would recommend to listeners, and I found this because they did an advertisement on No One Can Know About This, but it's called Let's Listen. And it's a Let's Play podcast, but what he's done is really cool. He takes out all of the gameplay. So it's just the cutscenes and the story of the game. And then he does narration to let you know what's going on screen. So it ends up playing out like an old school radio drama, which is what I've been looking for on because I listen to a lot of like drama podcasts, but they all tend to be like, oh, well, in this one, we do a podcast, and then this is also the story, right? Like, they always have to do this meta thing of like, oh, well, someone sent in audio recordings to us, or they always have to like come up with some sort of arbitrary thing to make a radio drama, where it's like the old radio dramas were literally just like, imagine a television show, but someone is describing to you what's going on, and there's also actors, right? And that's what this is. And it's really well done. The first season he's doing is for The Walking Dead, the Telltale game. And so I haven't been marathoning it just because like I'm not a huge fan of that game, but the way that he does the show is really cool. Now the only problem is I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 podcasts called Let's Listen. So this is my reminder to myself to put a link in the show thread and then also like tweet it. Because otherwise you're going to have trouble finding it. I had trouble finding it. Right. That's yeah, that's a thing. You gotta find the podcasts. Yeah, definitely put a link in the show. That sounds pretty interesting. Yes. Actually. Yeah, man, that's always a thing. That's what I was wanting to do with like a visual novel thing. Kind of just read out visual novels and make them like a play or whatever. It's been an idea. I would love to see him do this for like Mass Effect or something like that. Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah. The only other game I've played other than Ghosts of Tsushima is a game called Othercide with a C. I super want to hear about this from you. Okay, I cannot get into this game. I have tried. I booted this up about 4 times now and sat down to play it, and I don't think I like it at all. So there's a lot of
weird stuff with it. It's like all black and white and red and like gray. It's a very, the character designs remind me of Nier Automata a lot. Like, just white-haired girls, like, and that's not a...
Just to clarify, like, just for the listeners, like, so this is a strategy RPG.
Yes.
And I actually pointed this one out to you because I saw, like, some, like, announcement trailer or something. I'd never heard of it. But I was like, oh, this has got an interesting look to it, and Justin loves strategy RPGs. And I showed it to you, and you're like, well, maybe. And then... I watched the IGN review, and that reviewer was over the moon for it. I was like, oh, maybe this is something. And then I told you that, and you were like, well, yeah, so far it's okay. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's been my, I cannot get over it. Like I said, I booted it up about 3-4 times now. Definitely four. I remember every time I've sat down because it just feels like, I don't know. I cannot get into it. I've tried a lot. I think my main hangups are like that thing is so it's a roguelike. It's not really an RPG, and there's strategy stuff. Obviously, it's tile based. You know, move your guy here, attack from this range, tile stuff. But the problem I keep running into is like it is so designed to make you fail. Like it feels like I hate to say this, but it's like the Dark Souls of this kind of thing, like where they're just like, you're gonna die a bunch. Like the first run is like, you will fail. Like,
right.
I mean, they set it up to where you're going to die. You're like, I got to the boss and that dude just annihilated me. And
which
like,
is my problem with a lot of run-based games is like,
yeah,
it doesn't feel like it's a game where you are able to succeed until you've done it so many times that you just practically got it. Like it's either you've got everything memorized or you have the muscle memory to just like, that was the thing with me on Rogue Legacy is that eventually I just got so good at controlling the character that I was able to beat that game where it felt impossible, but it was literally because like I was almost playing the game without thinking, like towards the end of it. Yeah.
And I imagine this one's like that too, but like I don't know, when I go into something like this now, XCOM, like I know we've talked about this where like you can go in and like it's very easy to fuck that game up, and usually your first run you're gonna fuck up, but like usually it's like way down the line, and usually it's like a slow build to you being like, oh, there's no coming back from what's happening here, and you're like, okay, but next time I know how to do it, and it's kind of. And it makes you want to go to the next one. This one was just like, no, you're going to fail. You're going to die. Like, it's just going to happen. Like, you have no hope. And I hate that feeling in a game. I like to have the feeling like that I can go in first time. And if I really figure out the game and know my shit, that I'm going to like, that I have a chance at beating it. But this one is like, no, you're not going to do that. You have to, because your next run, then you get all this other stuff. And I was like, all right. So I got to like the next run and like, I was like, okay. Is there any more job classes other than 3? Because it's not looking like it. I can't get a guy over level 3. This is cool. And I just wasn't having a lot of fun. And I like the map design is super boring to me. Like like it's just that color, that aesthetic really, and this might be a me being visually impaired thing, but like there was a map where I was like, okay, I'm going to have my guy move over, my sword guy, go over and hit these 2 guys. And then I didn't notice that there was a giant gap in the stage because it was just like very like, you know, kind of half-assed done on the side to where it was like, no, there's like a whole big thing separating them. You have to use a gun guy to get to those guys. And I was like, oh, fuck. Well, I guess I'm just screwed now.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I couldn't get into it. It didn't seem like the map design was like anything. It's just flat terrain and move your guys on a tile. And the game just like says a lot of cryptic shit at you all the time. Like it's just like it's one of those things you have to play to know what the fuck I'm talking about. But like it's just like some lady who's apparently the mother of these people, and you're bringing back her daughters. It's very creepy. I don't know what the fuck is going on. There's like plague doctors and shit. And like every loading screen has like a little thing like, why are you here? What are you doing? And you're like, what? I don't know. And I'm guessing I'm supposed to keep playing it to know that. But like eventually, like the lady just says the same couple quotes over and over.
Oh,
and like
that's
you're
a
like,
super bummer. Yeah.
oh, dude, it gets really repetitive. And like and you're like, okay, like every time this one certain enemy type shows up, like she says like, I can't remember what it was. They're born from darkness or something like that. And you're like, shut the fuck up. I know. Like, I've seen this enemy type. You don't need to tell me this again. Like, I was playing it on 360, which that's my bad. This is a PC game. You should probably not play this on a console. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a mouse game. Like, I tried playing it on Xbox and I was like, I don't have any problem with Xbox, XCOM. Like, I actually find I screw up less on a controller with XCOM, and that's a weird thing for me. But this one, like, everything felt super clunky on a controller. Like, it was just not built for a controller at all. It was definitely built for a mouse and keyboard, but I don't know. I can't get into it. I've tried, and the last time I played it, I was like, this is not for me. This is not my game. I can't do it.
Oh man, I steered you wrong. That sucks.
Yeah, maybe it might be the run-based thing. I think it's more the run-based thing than anything. And like, it's that feeling of like, oh, I don't have hope this time. I'm going to have to do another run and hopefully get good at it. I can't see there might be depth here, but I can't get far enough to see that depth unfold.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of depressing. Like it's just not my thing. It's not my thing.
Cause I mean, obviously it's a different type of game, but it's also run based, but that was the thing that I really marveled at about that first game of Slay the Spire that I played, where I felt that I was getting overwhelmed in that first run, but then I was like, oh wait, hold on. Let me take stock of what I've got in my hand here. And then play this, and then that, and then all of a sudden, like, the tides were turning, and I was like, oh, okay, that's real, and then I felt very empowered.
Monster Train's the same way.
Yeah.
Monster Train, it's like, there's most of the time when I lose a run in Monster Train, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, it was pretty unlucky that I had this happen. That's okay, though. Next run, that's fine. But like, they happen so fast, but most of the time, it's like, if I wouldn't have done this, this, and this, if I would have built towards this instead and tried to go this way with the deck I was building, or like would have played this at a certain time, the loss was on me. Like, I always feel like I have a chance in that game. And this one, I was just like, I don't feel like I have a chance. And I don't like that feeling. Like, so not something I'm personally into. If it sounds good to you out there, though, give it a shot and tell me about the depth that I'm missing and if it actually does get good. Because I am curious, but I know I'm not going to get far enough. Like, yeah. And it's kind of
if listeners are going to look it up, it's Othercide, but it's spelled like homicide. So just remember that.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Oh god. It's the most, yeah. I think especially after they started repeating the same quotes over and over, I was like, I think we're done here. That part really got me. I was trying.
I played a game recently, and I don't remember what it was, where I was like, man, you really could have like at least like come up with some lines of dialogue for each time you do this. Maybe it was Ghost of Tsushima, but I feel like it was something I played before that, but I don't remember what that was.
Probably. Now. But yeah, I can tell this one, this is like a Unity game, it's very indie. But I don't know. I know you only have so much of a budget to make this game on, and I get it, but I was like, maybe only make that play once per run, maybe, and then stop, because every time this enemy type shows up is way too much.
Yeah.
It's just way too much to play this fucking little line, and it's not a good line. It's a bad line. It's bad. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I guess I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima. I finished it.
You finished it, yeah. I finished it as well.
Okay, great.
I got the platinum.
Damn.
Because, it wasn't. So I really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. I think it's a really good game. I don't. It's interesting the way that like people are over the moon about it, and I think it's this weird gamer, like people who were so bent out of shape over Last of Us 2 it's also this weird thing. Like, if you like Last of Us 2, you don't like Ghost of Tsushima, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though like they're completely different games.
I was gonna say, because I've seen like people on polar opposites, like people like either really over the moon about the game or really like underwhelmed by it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I'm more in the middle. Like, again, I liked it. I think it's a good game. It's number 2 on my list, but that's also because it's like it's like the third new game that I've played this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably 5th on mine, and I'm not very high on it. But I did enjoy like those opening moments of that game. Like, I really, like, when I think back, I go, man, the opening stuff of that game was really awesome. I love, visually and everything else, I really like it. But
this game overstays its welcome to a absurd degree. And now, let me say, I did a lot of this to myself because I went for the platinum because it was an easy platinum to get. And also, my brain is broken right now, and it gave me this strange sense of accomplishment because it was like, hey, my dishes are still dirty in the sink, but at least I got that fox den. I really needed that other fox den. Why are there 49 fox dens in this game, Justin? Why aren't there like 10 fox dens? The very interesting thing about the design of this game is you can feel that they ran out of stuff, but they were like, oh shit, we have a third act. We need stuff for you to do in that area.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think the Fox Den is a perfect example. So when you're first doing it, you're moving towards unlocking additional charm slots, right? Because you can equip up to 6 charms. But that's not the end of the foxes. There's still way more after that. So after that, you start unlocking just unique charms. And then after that, you start unlocking the ability to boost those charms. And it's like, you guys really, like, it was so demoralizing when I would be like, oh, there's something nearby. This bird is like leading me towards something. Oh, it's another fucking fox. Okay. Oh. And this fox is going to take me in the opposite direction of where I was going to begin with. Awesome.
Yeah.
All of this stuff. I thought the haiku stuff was cool, but I would have liked to have done that maybe 3 times. Right?
Yeah.
Not 20.
It doesn't need as much. It's so repetitive after a certain point. Like, it's like I said last podcast, that game is open world as fuck. Like, it is just checklist open world stuff. Now, I think you and I probably have the same opinion on this, where like it gets done with that second act and you're like, okay, that's strong. Now finale time, right? And like, it should just move straight into the finale type deal. Like, I think so. Like, I think that game peaks about right there. And then they were like, yeah, like you said, oh shit, we have a third act. And like that third act, I was so weak to me. I hated the third island, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was so uninspired.
Storyline wise, like the third act is pretty quick, right? If you're not wanting to do the side missions.
Oh, which I didn't. At that point, I was done.
Yeah.
I blazed through. I finished up the character side quests.
Well, I like the character side quests are the ones like those will definitely take some time still.
Yeah.
But those are definitely worth it. Especially Masako's storyline. I think hers was probably like the strongest overall story from beginning to end. I think maybe they didn't all need to be 9 missions. I think 6 missions probably would. They had the Marvel Netflix issue where it's like you were on track to tell a really tight, excellent story here, and then you padded it, and it just you went too far.
It really did. Yeah, I think there's this. I don't know. This would require a spoiler thing, and I'm not about to get into that. So. But I think it peaks at like the end of Act 2 for me. And then like they went into that third act and I was just like, I'm just so done with this. And I remember blazing through that. Like I said, I did the character side quest and I did, what was it? The last mythic one. And that was pretty much it. I was just like, well, we're going to go to the end of this game. I thought the ending, I mean, that game, I pretty much predicted it from the outset. Like it's that kind of story to me. The character side quests are fine. I didn't vibe with really any of them that well. I did like the warrior monk guy. I thought he was kind of cool. He had an interesting little arc. But nobody really did much for me in that game. Like, I mean, they're all fine. There's a point where, like, I really liked Yuna in the beginning of that game. I thought she was great. And there was a point where I was just like, okay, guys, I get it. She had a hard life. Like, I was like, like, they just kept adding to it. They just kept adding and adding. Like,
Yeah.
And this. I was like, I get it. You don't have. I know. I get it.
They also tried to
shoehorn
shoehorn like some sort of pseudo romance plot line with her and Jin, and I was like, oh, I don't need this.
I don't think they did. I don't think they never. It's never like stated that they do anything or anything like that. They're just kind of, to me, that they end as partners more.
They do, but
which
there was definitely a moment where she was like alluding to like, hey, let's just like run away together, and it's like
that they did do that. Yeah, I agree. I don't even think they needed that.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. It was weird. But yeah.
Yeah, and like I enjoyed the combat, but I don't think that it's deep enough. Well, it's not deep enough for the 50-something hours that I spent on this game.
No, it's not.
And again, because there's a certain point where I was just like, all right, I guess I'm just going to be like 100% stealth now. But again, the stealth is just not up to par. And like, I actually posted a screenshot because I had to like infiltrate this fortress, and I was like trying to get in, and I was looking up at this wall, and I tweeted, I was like, Ricky Maru could get over this wall. All you have to do is like use this fucking grappling hook. It'll get right up there. But Jin can't do that.
No, can't do that.
Yeah.
No, why would he ever be able to do that? That's stupid. Yeah, that game, and that's another thing. You have almost everything you want by the end of Act 2, like, unless you're just mainlining it, in which case, that's different. But like, it's such a beautiful world that you want to go explore, and like, you kind of naturally stumble upon a lot of the side stuff. So by the time you get to that like end of that second act, you have everything you want. And it was just like, that's the thing about games. Like, I will put a lot of hours into games, obviously. Like, as long as you keep giving me that like next level type thing where I keep going, okay, I want my character to do this, and then I want my character to do this, and like I keep going with that. As long as I have a goal, I'm 100% on board with it. I'll put a ton of hours into the game and not think anything of it. But this one, I was just like, well, I have everything. Why do okay, I guess I can put more charms on myself. I don't fucking care about this. Like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Fuck these foxes. Like, seriously. Like, I just stopped caring. And I was just like, there was points where I almost wish I would have been like streaming this or something, because like, there was points where where I was going into like the like final base, and there was this guy like, please help me, Lord Sakai, help me. And I was like, no, sir, I got other things to do. Can't help you. Sorry. we keep going. Like, Yuna's walking with me, like, just keep walking. You don't see him. Blinders. We're going right by this motherfucker.
Yeah, I think that game could have ended where Act 2 ends with, if you just put like one extra thing tacked on to the end of Act 2, that kind of would have been perfect.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. They just were like, no, but we have the whole other island, and the last little, like, I keep saying island, but the last little part, the section of the map that you unlock, is just so bland to me. Like, I was walking around it, I was like, it's
big, open, and barren. Like, there's literally a section where it's like a mountain or a field that's been like half burned, and it's like, so you're just like, marching through like desolate like forest area, and then that leads into a mountain. So it's like, all right, this is very uninteresting to look at. Oh,
it's so uninteresting. Like, the compared to the rest of that map, like, it's. I think I get what they were going for, storyline wise. I think I got. Sure. I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
I get what you're trying to do here, but
serious and
exactly. Yeah. I understood the tone they were trying to do. But
this is what the Mongols have brought to Japan.
Yeah,
type of thing.
Yeah. But it doesn't land. It doesn't make me want to go do all the side content here, because I'm like, fuck this place. Why would I want to hang out here? This sucks. Like, screw this. Like, and then the ending is just. there's one part that's good, and it just kind of it's weird.
and I know that, like, you know, when you design something, like, obviously you don't want to design a one-off or something like that. I get that. But you know what would have been cool is if, like, maybe you do the fox dens on the first part of the island, and then the second part that is replaced with something else. You know, like, you
know what, that could have worked.
Yeah,
I'm with you. That could have worked, and you were slowly like, oh, now on this island I have haikus. Oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going around finding this stuff. That would have been an interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
I could have got down with that, and then like, oh, well, third spot's here now, and now we're doing I don't know, fucking what's the other thing that they had? Oh, bamboo chopping or whatever.
Yeah,
we're doing that now. It's cool. But yeah, it peters out so hard. Like, they just needed more stuff. They needed more for your character to do or something. Not more stuff. They didn't need more stuff. They needed more depth to the things your character could do, because by the time I was like, oh, I guess I'll power up these ghost weapons that I don't use. I guess my smoke bombs are really good now. I don't ever fucking use them, because why would I use them?
When I found out that when you use a smoke bomb, you can then do chain assassinations on the enemies around you, they became super useful.
Cool.
Yeah,
I believe it. That's probably pretty cool. Like there was stuff that I could have messed around with, but I was just so over it at the point where I got to then. I was just like, I just don't care. I finished it. It was fine. I didn't hate it. I know it sounds like I hated it. I didn't. I actually found it pretty enjoyable, but like it definitely those last. It's almost like a Death Stranding problem to me. Like, where Death Stranding, like the second half of that game, I was just like, I'm fucking done with this.
Yeah.
Like,
and then also like the sound of the Mongolian archers is seared into my brain, and I can't get it out, and I'm so fucking pissed. Dosho! Like, especially because their AI is terrible, and they will shoot at you, like, when they have no line of sight to you, and they'll just keep on doing it. And they keep calling out, even if there's no other Mongolians left alive to warn, they still do it, and it's awful. And to wrap it up, like, I think it's a really good game. I definitely recommend playing it. I don't recommend going for the platinum unless you literally got nothing better to do.
Like I said, I think you, if you're gonna go into this game, unless you're like, you know, you really want to do all the stuff and you find it great, that's cool. Like, go do all the stuff. But I personally think, you know, go do the quests with the character faces on them and do the main stuff, and that's about really all you need to do. And the mythic quests, mythic art ones are pretty good. Those are pretty cool too.
I would say do the mythic tales and then do the character ones, but skip Ishikawa's, because it's the same note over and over and over for 9 missions.
That's very true.
It gets a little tiresome.
Yeah, until like the very end.
Yeah, the very end is interesting, but then everything else is like, all right, we'll go get Tomoe. Okay, we got it.
Yeah. I remember Ishikawa was interesting.
Yeah. I recognize the actor too, which was really weird, because he's an actor on Lost and The Expanse. So I was like, very like taken out of it, when I would see him every time. It's really good. Well, it's good. I don't know if I would go as far as really good. But I did enjoy it. I would say the photo mode, you know, I derived a lot of pleasure out of that. I actually ended up taking slightly more pictures than I did in Horizon, and that's saying something, because like the only thing that I wish they would have done for photo mode is like let you do poses, because a lot of times Jin is just like kind of getting in the way of the really pretty pictures. It's like you're just kind of standing here. I can't make you do anything cool. I mean, I made it work, but yeah.
Well, I don't know if you have anything else, but before we move on from Ghost of Tsushima, I have one more thing about Ghost of Tsushima. And I think you will like it. Okay. So I was told to make a dog song parody.
Yes.
Video game dogs. Now listen, I decided I don't want to make dog song parodies for this podcast, but I'm going to do you one better. All right. I'm just going to make song parodies about the games I've been playing. All right. So I made a song for Ghost of Tsushima. It's based on the Blue Oyster Cult classic, Godzilla. And it's just simply titled Ghost of Tsushima. So here we go. And I'll have to clear my throat and get loose for this here. All right, here we go. Bum, ba-na-na-na, 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 ba-na-na. Okay, you get it. Here we go. You're a samurai man who sneaks around. You stab dudes in the neck without making a sound. Helping farmers go get their grains by chopping up people as Ishikawa complains. You pick up some stuff and you have a showdown, but you can't find the swordsmith anywhere in town. Oh no, the game's still fucking going. Ghost of Tsushima. Woo! Oh no, here come the Mongols. Ghost of Tsushima. Woo! That's the song. Thank you.
That is fucking fantastic. Thank you. And so apt.
I figured it would hit many spectrums of that game.
Yes.
So there you go.
Excellent. Yeah, I've got a couple quick hits. One before I forget, and I normally don't do this. Okay, I've said on the show that I'm done with Kickstarters, but I think I'm done with Kickstarters except for very specific criteria. And I think one of them is when, like, it's an original creator of something that I love that, like, has a very good pitch and seems very, like that they're going to go the whole way, and they have something to show.
I think I know what you're talking about here. Yeah.
The other one, I'm waiting for when either the doctors or people who worked directly under the doctors form a new company like BioWare to make games like Mass Effect and KOTOR. I will back the fuck out of that. Cause someone's gonna do it. Mark my words, like someone is gonna be like, it's time to go back to like that Mass Effect and KOTOR era of BioWare games, and nobody makes them anymore. So we're gonna make them, and we used to make them. So, Eiyuden Chronicles is a Kickstarter, and it's still active as of when this releases. So that's why I'm talking about it here. It's from a lot of the dev team who worked on the earlier Suikoden games. And this game is Suikoden as fuck. Okay. 100 characters.
It looks awesome. It looks really great. I want to play this really badly.
Yeah. It's 100 characters, base building, 2D sprites on 3D backgrounds. I think it's like 6 people in a party, but like they've got this really cool battle system where the terrain actually matters. So you can actually arrange characters on like different heights. And like you can put mages like behind cover, so they're just like slinging spells without taking a lot of damage.
That's kind of like an evolution of the old like Suikoden system, because like you had like people who had different ranges on them. Like your long range guys would have to be in the back, or well, they didn't have to be, but they sucked up front. But like you couldn't reach guys in the back if you didn't have a medium range guy up front, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, you couldn't have short range guys in the back, or they couldn't attack.
Yeah, they couldn't attack. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is a really cool evolution of it, and it looks a lot like Octopath Traveler as far as just like a aesthetic. It's like that, but actually pumped up quite a bit. And I'm not saying that like you need to go Kickstarter, because like it annihilated its goal in like 3 hours.
It should.
Yeah. But they've been really good, and one of the reasons that I did this is because a lot of the people who did the Bloodstained Ritual of the Night Kickstarter campaign are helping them with this. So it's like, okay, I have confidence in this. Like, the reward tiers are really good. Iga is involved in some capacity. And they've already been doing like amazing updates for the game. They've been showing off character designs and stuff. Cool. So yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. I'll put something in the show notes about to the Kickstarter, so you can at least look at the trailer, because the trailer, like they've got a couple things. They've got like a trailer, and then they've got like a little bit of like just like exploring the world, and then they've got like part of a boss battle, and that's the one you really want to look at. Like that stuff looks really good. So
that's cool.
There's that. Real quick, I've been playing Carrion, which was released on Game Pass a few weeks ago. It is a like action exploration game, but here you're playing basically like this like monster, but it's just like this like meat thing with like teeth and tentacles, and you're very small, and as you consume people, like you actually grow, and it's phenomenal to control. Like you're just flying through these areas, and like you have like your main attack is just you grab things with your tentacle and you can whip things around, and like I have not gotten bored of just like grabbing people and then like just like bashing them against the walls, and then like
what perspective is this? This first person?
No, this is 2D. This is 2D.
2D.
Yeah.
Oh, this sounds cool.
It's a Metroidvania.
Okay, I'm into that. Oh no, that's fine. That sounds really cool. I'd try that. It's on Game Pass?
It's on Game Pass, and it's
shit.
short.
Okay.
It like they say it's like a 4 or 5 hour game, so I think I'm almost done with it at this point.
Okay.
But you know, as you're going through, like you get new abilities to help you like get to different areas. You're basically just trying to escape this laboratory. But it's really cool because like you're slithering through like these air ducts and stuff like that, and then like eventually like they start to like try to develop countermeasures, like they have flamethrowers and stuff, which they'll mess you up really quickly. But then you're
right.
okay, let me slither up through this like shaft above this guy because he's also got a shield, and I'll get up behind him and then like grab him, and he's got armor too, so you can't eat him, but you can chomp on him until you kill him, or you can just like grab like a door off its hinges and fling it at an enemy and just like cleave him in twain.
This sounds like Katana Zero, and I'm super into it. Like certain aspects of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Katana Zero, different thing. It's not a Metroidvania, but like that sounds cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like that sounds awesome.
I think you would dig this. And like I said, like
this sounds cool.
It controls really well. Like the because you would think that a monster like this would be like kind of sluggish and stuff like that. Oh no! Like you're practically flying.
Right.
And it's hard to describe the way it moves, but it feels very good. I was actually playing a little bit more of it before we started recording.
That sounds awesome. Yeah,
and it's on Game Pass, like I said. So,
I was gonna say it's free. I'm gonna go download that tomorrow, probably.
Yeah,
or maybe tonight.
And then, real quick, like I might end up talking about this a little bit more next episode. But I had picked up. I don't know. I'm already getting in the Halloween mood. I think because like I want to pretend that this year is somewhat normal. I don't know.
There you go. That's
but
fine.
There had been like a massive Resident Evil sale on Xbox a few weeks ago, or massive Capcom sale rather. And so I ended up picking up Resident Evil 3 Remake, which I had forgotten came out this year. And I also picked up Resident Evil 7 again, this time for Xbox, because like I want to give it another shot. Because people are so in love with that game, but I really didn't like it. But I was like, well, let me try it again, type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because maybe with my Xbox headphones, like that'll like make me more immersed in it. I don't know. So Resident Evil 3 starts off in a way that I didn't need it to, considering everything's going on, because it has a FMV like intro.
Yeah,
and it's all about like a pandemic that's raging out of control, and there's rioting in the streets, and everything's on fire. It wasn't their fault,
Julian.
It wasn't their fault. I know. It's just
that game came out before that, it came out right around the time when all that stuff started.
Yeah,
and like I remember like watching it, like, ooh, they didn't mean for that, but yeah.
Like I was literally sitting there, was like, oh, this is not okay. Oh no. Yeah. I'm really torn on these remakes, Justin. Mm-hmm. I think they're really well made. Like obviously they're really well made. Like I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
And I think they're excellent at like translating these old ass PS1 games into the modern day. Like I think they do it better than anybody remaking games.
Right.
But there's certain design decisions that I really take issue with. And I think one of them is that I don't like the way that you shoot in these games. It wants you to be extremely precise, but it won't let you. And like I've tried tweaking the options as best I can, and like there are a lot of times when I will empty an entire clip at air. Because like, and also like the zombies do this weird like head juke thing.
They sway a lot.
Yeah. Well, but it's not even that they sway. It's like they're actively dodging bullets, and it's like, all right. I especially in this game where like there's so many zombies, like way more than there were in Resident Evil 2. Mm-hmm. So it's much more of an action game this time around. Which I mean, the original Resident Evil 3 was the same way. I'm not decrying it for that, but it's more of like, you need to give me some. Like just a little bit of help, and I don't want to put it on easy. It's more of just, I don't know. I love the shooting in Resident Evil 4. I think Resident Evil 4 feels really good. I don't like the shooting in Resident Evil 7, 2, or this one.
It may just be that engine, because that's all the RE engine or whatever.
Maybe.
All those games.
Now, I love what it does for graphics. Like, I love like all of the characters.
Oh, yeah.
And like Jill, I don't know if anybody mentioned this. She kind of has this just a slight Mila Jovovich look to her design. And I don't know if that was on purpose, but I was like, okay, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, she looks great. I love her design in there. So I watched it a while back, and I don't remember a whole lot about it. I forgot it even came out until you mentioned it.
Yeah, I had forgotten too.
Yeah. And I remember, I definitely don't think it's as good as RE2 remake was,
right.
But like it's okay. Like I know eventually
part of that is just that Resident Evil 3 wasn't as good as Resident Evil 2. So what are you going to do, right? Like,
yeah,
you're working off of inferior source material to begin with.
They had, they did a lot of retconning in this one, and they made it interesting enough, and it's definitely a shorter game, so you might like it, but yeah, like I can understand not liking the that engine for shooting or whatever. I know I like when I played RE2 remake or whatever, I was terrible at it.
Yeah,
like
it's real hard to like get a shot off.
I watch other people like blaze through that shit, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't look that hard. And I try it myself. I'm like, oh man, I just suck. Like, yeah. I'm just really bad. So like, it's probably, I'm just not good at that sort of stuff. But then again, also I let fear take over a lot in those games. So I panic a lot. Like, it just happens.
Well, like I think a good example is that I'm fighting the hunters now. And hunters are ubiquitous in the Resident Evil series. It'll kill you in one hit, and then the tooltip is like, make sure that you keep your distance from the hunters. And it's like, I can't. You forced me in this tiny room with this massive creature. And like, I died I think 4 times in a row. And then the next, when I reloaded again, it just went down with a few bullets. And I was like, fuck you, game. Like,
yeah, they knocked it down for you. Yeah. I know that game has hidden, difficulty stuff in it where if you start missing shots all the time, it will eventually
start critting more often.
You start critting more often. Yeah. So it's to help with because there's an ammo scarcity thing or whatever, which is interesting. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. And that's one of the other things that I've had issues with the 2 remakes is that the zombies kind of don't die. Or they're much bullet spongier than they've ever been. You will pump multiple bullets into a zombie's head, and it goes down, and you think it's dead, and then it gets back up, and you put it baback down, and then it gets back up. And it's not as bad in Resident Evil 3 as it was in 2, but it's still extremely annoying.
They get back up a lot. You get I know there's a whole technique for checking if they're dead, and especially in 2 where you would hit them with the knife, and if they would usually immediately get back up or whatever.
I'll have to try that next time I play it.
Yeah, that was the tech, is knock them down, and because it's not the old games. The old games, you knew when they were dead because a blood pool would happen, exactly. Right? That was the indicator. This one, they bring that fear that it could rise back up, and you never know. So to check and see if they're actually dead, you gotta go through with the knife or whatever and hit them again, and then they'll get back up if they're going to get back up. Also, you can get some free shots in with the knife too. With that too.
Yeah.
That was one thing I did implement in my very short time of playing that game. But yeah,
I'm enjoying it. I'm probably almost done with it.
You are.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you are.
I only played Resident Evil 3 once, right when it came out, and I beat it right away, and I haven't even touched it since. But just judging from the Nemesis encounters, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm nearing the end of this game.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is cool. I do want to go back and replay Resident Evil 2, with Claire and stuff like that, and try to get more achievements. But yeah, there's, I don't know. But I will, but what I wanted to say to wrap this up, this segment is, I really want them to remake Resident Evil 1. Not because I think that the remake looks bad today.
Oh, it's an awesome remake, but I think I 100% agree with you because they have gone with almost a completely different universe, in my opinion. And like, I would really love to see the take on it. Yeah.
Because they did, like, there's been some really awesome stuff in Resident Evil 3 that ties in not only with 2, but also with 4. And one of the things that I really liked was, like, literally there were parts where it's like things would happen. It's like, that's how that happened in Resident Evil 2. Like, literally, like, there's 2 dead cops in the RPD station that you see in Resident Evil 2, and you see them die, and it's like, oh, that's awesome. Like, because there is some weird stuff where it's like you can actually unlock a lot of the like locked items, like the lockers and stuff in the precinct that just timeline wise, like that's kind of this weird paradox.
It doesn't add up,
Yeah.
but it was for like, you know, gameplay reasons.
Exactly.
We have to do this. There's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, but it was fine. Yeah, and again, you know, like I really like the graphics, and I like that this, you know, now we have like better voice acting, better script, and the games tie together better. So like I know that like the rumor is that they're either remaking Code Veronica or 4 next. I would really prefer them to do 1. And then I want them to do 1 and Code Veronica. They can kind of leave 4, because gameplay wise is pretty similar. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they remake 4 also.
Like I said, I think it's like its own universe. So like, I'm kind of cool with wherever they want to go with it. Yeah. Really. Like, cause they have totally made it its own little thing. It's kind of really cool. Yeah. Like I really dig it.
Yeah. And we know that Resident Evil 8 is coming out next year, but, I'm hoping that they announce another remake after that.
Yeah. I have one last thing.
Okay.
That I just thought of, and I'm very sorry. It's very, very
No,
quick.
it's fine.
Okay. I have been listening, and this is going to sound dumb. I've been listening to Persona 5 soundtrack for reasons. And I'll leave it at that. So much so that I bought a new fucking bass, because I was so into all the bass playing in it. And so much I've been listening to the soundtrack that I want to play the game again, but I'm scared. I don't know what to do. So I know people that listen to this podcast really like Persona 5. What should I do? Like, should I just play it and not give a fuck? Will I be fine? Should I stop being a baby? I just want to know people's opinions.
Dude, I just finished listening to the Square Roots playthrough Persona 4, and it sounds super stressful trying to get all that stuff done.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking about like looking up a fact. So I own the original, but I think I'm gonna play Royale because I've heard good things about it. So I might do that. And I have been avoiding the Square Roots one because there is a big spoiler in that I have not been spoiled on for many, many years. And I don't want to be spoiled on it. Because I'm like, I do intend to go back to the Persona's so weird. That's the one franchise that I've never finished a single game, but I'm always like, I'm gonna go back and finish it.
Right.
Don't tell me what fucking happens in it. It's like the one thing, and it's, but yeah, I would like advice if you know a good walkthrough, or if you're just like, hey, just shut the fuck up and play the game, it'll be fine. I'll be like, okay, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah. My vote is that you pick, oh, well, no, never mind. No, I'm sorry. Wait until Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition comes out for Game Pass, and then play Dragon Quest XI, because that's coming out in October or November. So
I know, I get it, but listen, Julian.
I know Cyberpunk's coming out.
No, it's not even that. It's just the sound. I just want to hear that music again, like in the game.
Oh, like, right, yeah.
Because I keep listening to it. I'm like, I forget where this was in the game, but the song's so fucking good. Like, I'm just like, God damn, this is awesome. Yeah. But anyway, that's all I got.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Yes. Let us know in the comments or on Twitter what Justin should do.
Yes.
For Persona 5. All right. Well, that's it for Consumption Junction, folks. So I think the only thing left to do is to step into the ring and lower the cage for Video Game Cage Match.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest spectacle on earth. This will be one hellacious ride tonight. This is a 15-foot high steel cage, ladies and gentlemen. Who will triumph? Who will prevail? and who will realize their dream?
All right, and Justin, you were the one who picked this booking. Would you remind us what we are pitting in the squared circle tonight?
Well, we got Zelda Breath of the Wild versus Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt.
It was brought to us by San Andreas.
Indeed. I forget who did it, but I was intrigued by this matchup. One of them is very close to my heart, and one of them isn't. I'll let you guess which one isn't. Do you want me to go first, Julian?
Sure, if you want.
All right, I'll go first. That's fine, baby. I'll go first. Because who the fuck you think wins this match, man? I mean, fucking Witcher 3 wins this match. Come on now. Fuck you think? Like, come on, man. Like, Zelda's, like, kind of pretty and stuff, but it's just, like, a sweet and cute game. Like, The Witcher 3 is, like, forged in darkness and hatred. There's no getting into that game and going through anything and feeling good about it. This shit's no, like fucking Link can't even like survive 5 minutes in the cold without fucking like, how the fuck is he gonna win against fucking Geralt of Rivia? Come on now. This is silly. I seen this matchup, I was like, this is silly. Fuck is anybody gonna do here? That's stupid. This is like, I'm sure everybody's out there, well, so Breath of the Wild is a better game. Is it? I don't know. I didn't really get into it, but because I kept dying in the cold because the game's that shit's stupid. Because fuck me, I guess that's why. Because fuck me, I guess. But like, what is Princess Zelda gonna do? Like, fucking Witcher 3 has like fucking sorceresses. No magic and shit. She got fucking getting kidnapped all the time. That's her fucking special power, apparently, because she's just always getting kidnapped.
Well, actually, Justin, she's been holding back the power of Calamity Ganon for 1,000 years.
That's fucking stupid. Well, exactly. She's busy doing that. She ain't got to be in this cage match then. Fuck. But yeah, it's very cut and dry. Witcher 3 wins this. Come on now.
Okay.
This is silly.
No,
silly.
So I agree with you that Witcher 3 is a superior game in every respect. It's prettier, it's got better characters, better story, better music, better quest design.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just I mean, it is one of my favorite games of the generation. Spoiler alert for our Game of the Generation podcast at the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah, probably mine too.
But this is video game cage match, Justin. And
how are you going? How are you going?
So here's a little thing about Geralt of Rivia in The Witcher 3. Right. He can't move or fight very well, Justin. And Breath of the Wild has the Guardians, which will one-shot you at a moment's notice, no matter what. And Link is very mobile and has all these weird, like, have you seen the weird shit that people can do in Breath of the Wild? Like just the bizarre ways that they can annihilate enemies in that game.
Julian, he can't even go up a fucking mountain in the rain.
He can't go up a mountain in the rain, but he can like...
He can't go up a mountain in the rain, Julian.
But he can catapult an enemy 5 times his size across a mountain somehow. I don't know, dude. Like, I'm giving this to Breath of the Wild because
Geralt, the Witcher has like giants and shit. They could do that.
Yeah, but
there's so many things in it. There's so many evil, terrible things in it.
Geralt moves like shit, Justin. I'm sorry, but he does. Like, the combat in The Witcher is not the reason that you come to The Witcher. I just think that in a fight between these two games, not Link versus Geralt. If it's Link versus Geralt, then yes, Geralt comes out on top every time. But in Zelda Breath of the Wild versus Witcher 3 as games, I gotta give it to Breath of the Wild. Those fucking Guardians, man. I'm scarred for life.
Silly. I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. This is silly. It's ridiculous.
All right, well.
Anyway, what did other people say? I'm sure the Breath of the Wild's best game ever made. I'm sure it is. I'm playing this heel role real well right now. I'm very proud of myself.
Well, let's see, because as always, our lovely listeners, in addition to booking the matches, are also our referees. First up on Facebook, we have Chris Murray, who says, the victor, of course, is one Geralt of Rivia. Not only is The Witcher 3 a better game, but seriously, it's better because Geralt fucks. Does Link? No, sir. He only pines away waiting for Zelda.
That's an excellent point.
With Geralt, he has Yennefer, Triss, Kira, Judah, and Dimoon. I don't even know that one. Sasha, Shani, Sienna. You're making some of these up. I didn't meet any of these women.
No, that's probably Witcher 2.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot. There's more.
Yeah.
I know there's also like 2 DLC love interests as well.
Okay. And he continues, and all the courtesans at the Passiflora brothel and crippled Kate's. Mm-hmm. To be fair, I haven't played Breath of the Wild and heard it is fantastic, just not fantastic enough for me to buy a console simply to play that. That's fair. Some of the mechanics in Breath of the Wild would go great in The Witcher and would improve upon an already all-star game. But my vote goes to The Witcher. Excellent.
You made the right choice.
Yeah.
You made the right choice.
I neglected the fact that Geralt does indeed fuck.
That's such a good point.
Apologize.
I didn't even. I mean, I of course it wouldn't come to my mind, but yes, this is an excellent point. After that, we have San Andreas over on Pixbit.com. And he has this to say. He votes for Gal's Panic. Breath of the Wild wins here. That wasn't one of the games. So much for someone assuming I was talking about Zelda. Just kidding. That said, Zelda Breath of the Wild does win. I pontificated on it enough that everybody knows where I stand on it by now, so I will actually talk more about The Witcher 3. That game is loaded with detail in terms of the characters in the world, and it's definitely one of the titans of the RPG genre. Geralt is definitely one of the more interesting video game heroes out there. I've been familiar with the series since the first game. CD Projekt's success with Witcher 3 was well earned. Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of this generation, and The Witcher 3 is my 4th favorite game of the generation, so this was a monster matchup. It was indeed. Unlike my cage match pitting that poor bastard Quest 64 against Final Fantasy 7,
R.I.P.
I will say, that was
Never forget.
Never forget. I will say that Witcher 3 is stronger in narrative, while Breath of the Wild has much better game mechanics. So he sides with you. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
It's just if you had faced one of those guardians, Justin, you would know.
Yeah, I mean, my character was too busy freezing to death to ever see one. So
fair enough. Next up on Pixelbit, we have Superstep, who says, "Well, I've played The Witcher 3, so I guess that one."
Fair, excellent, excellent.
Are you
made
Philip?
the right choice?
Was that sounded like a PK Becker answer?
All right. After that, we have. Okay, here we go. We have our bud John Marinkovich. And he has this to say about video game cage match. He is at John Marinkovich on Twitter.com. That's at John Marinkovich at Twitter.com. I don't know why I felt the need to repeat it, but I did. He says, cage match. He says, Justin, the continuation of our KOTOR feud this week will be based on how you voted. My vote is for Witcher 3. So if you pick Zelda, then the feud continues. Okay. But if you picked Witcher like you should be, then yeah, temporary truce. Okay, cool. All right, we cool, John. We cool. I thought The Witcher was a love letter to fans, and it certainly felt like a passion project from the studio. Yes, Geralt is a clumsy handle occasionally, and Roach will veer way off course if you're galloping between waypoints, but the story is just so damn amazing. Never feels like wasted motion doing anything in the game. Some of my favorite moments in the game came from random side quests that added heart and depth to Geralt, or there was a line of dialogue that made me laugh. It was an amazing game all the way around. Oh, and anybody that picked Zelda, you're wrong because Zelda doesn't have Gwent. And that's an excellent point as well. Fucking Gwent is awesome.
I didn't understand Gwent. I won't. Yeah.
Gwent is great. It's fucking. I tried playing. Gwent was so good that I actually went and tried to play the game that's like the actual Gwent game itself, and it's so different from the actual in-game Gwent that I was like immediately like, oh no to this. This is not the Gwent that I signed up for. I like playing against the CPU. That's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like wildly different.
Did you ever think of playing that Thronebreaker game where it's basically you play Gwent for the battles, but it's a story-based game?
I've been thinking about it. I might try that at some point. I'm not if it's Gwent from The Witcher 3 game itself, like, I'm in. But if it's Gwent from the Gwent game,
Right.
I know that sounds so weird to explain.
The standalone,
like,
the
standalone
Hearthstone
Gwent game
of the Witcher
Yeah,
universe.
it's because I did not like I didn't vibe with that at all. It was different. Like in The Witcher 3 Gwent, you have 3 columns or 3 rows or whatever, and you do all your cards there. You only have 2 in that one, and it was just, I was like, what is going on here? I don't like this at all. I'd have to learn it. This is a new card game. This is not Gwent that I enjoyed from The Witcher 3. You just put the name on it. Which I understand why you have to do that for balance reasons and so on and so forth, but no, I'm good.
Yeah.
But Gwent's fucking awesome, and he's right. That propelled me through my last playthrough. I was like, I'm going to get good at Gwent this time. It's happening. And it did.
All right. Well, something else that's happening is this comment from Jeffka on Twitter at Jestoff. And he says, let's take a moment and truly analyze this from their respective games. A battle of master swordsmen with decades of experience, loads of equipment, and hearts of gold. Link is truly a master of combat, perfectly capable of using several different types of weapons ranging from from swords and bows to boomerangs and spears. Geralt is no slouch on offense, but his reliance on 2 swords drastically cuts down on his versatility in combat, and his refusal to use a conventional shield as Link does, will also compromise his defense. Lastly, Link is far more agile than Geralt, and in the cage, this will come in very handy to Link. On the other hand, Geralt is far more adept in magic. Link can know up to 4 spells, while Geralt has 5, that are not only powerful in their own right, but hold many twists and turns as well, being able to change and bend his style of magic. However, are they powerful enough to break through Link's barrier magic, his agility, and his shield? I don't think so. Obviously, there's so much more going on, but I don't want to ramble too long, so I'll just say that I think Link would win quite handily. Now, if you'll excuse me, a writing exercise, if you will. The smoke clears from the arena, and Geralt looks up at a man above him. Blood dripped from his cheek, and he knew that 2 of his ribs were broken. The blonde-haired warrior raised his sword for the final thrust. Geralt was ready. He always was. The life of a Witcher required one to face the maw of death at all times. Shink! The hero's sword slipped into its scabbard as Geralt opened his yellow eyes. The silent swordsman held out his hand. Grunting in satisfaction, Geralt took it. Lifted to his feet, Geralt and Link shared a hearty handshake, the winner proving not only his physical prowess, but also his golden spirit. Too much?
No, it's not.
No, it's I like that.
But I mean, you picked the wrong thing, but you painted a picture, so I appreciate it. And I still don't hate you. You made a wrong decision, Jeff, but that's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. I forgive you.
I do think if we're just pitting character versus character, I've got Geralt by a mile.
Yeah,
but game to game, just with the mechanics of those 2 particular games, I'm going with it's Guardians, man, those fucking Guardians, and then all of the weird stuff that Link can do that defies physics.
I feel like we could almost bootleg this matchup if we tried, because both of them have appeared in Soul Calibur.
There you go.
Think about it. One was in 6, one was in 2?
2, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could make Link in 6, and then just like, we can do that.
Yeah.
Got to give Link Sofatia's moveset though. That's going to look really weird.
Yeah, we could do that, but let's not.
No.
Yeah.
So it was close, but it is The Witcher 3 coming out on top. I gotta say, I was not expecting that for this cage match, Justin.
I was not either. I'm not gonna lie, really. I was like, I know everyone's gonna vote for that, and I get it, but you know what? Guys didn't comment, so
when you sit out the vote, that you get Trump. I mean, you get The Witcher 3.
It's very true.
I'm sorry. No, I want to take that back. I don't want to equate The Witcher 3 with the Cheeto in Chief. That's a very terrible insult to The Witcher 3. But as always, Justin, there is always another match on the horizon. And I'm going to pick, it's my turn to pick a booking, and we're going to pick, the first booking from our, new listener, John Marinkovich. Next up in the steel cage, we have Star Wars Battlefront 2 taking on Star Wars Battlefront 2. That's right. It is the Pandemic original versus the EA, remake. Or not.
Oh, that's so good.
Yes. So,
yeah,
2004 versus 2018, I think.
Okay, John, our feud is over. That's a great booking. I enjoy this.
Yes.
Hopefully Well, it's temporarily over. We might feud again, but the baby faces and heels, we go back and forth. It's fine.
Yes. And once again, for stage select next episode, I want to know what games you have been using to help you through this very trying time of the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. Or other geeky stuff you've been up to. Again, this is a listener focused, stage select, which we've never really done before. So really need some input here, because otherwise we're just going to be talking about Skyrim and Diablo 3 a lot, because
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll fucking do it. I'll tell you the entire story of Skyrim. You bet. Don't fucking tempt me. You'll know all about the Dovahkiin and all of the things that they can do.
Or maybe we'll just have you list the, your top 10 mods of the week again.
I'll just go through the Nexus mods and just read through, or we could just do Lovers Lab.
No, it's got to be Lovers Lab, dude. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, always Lovers Lab. What am I, fucking stupid? Of course it's Lovers Lab.
And then again, for Cage Match, we have both Star Wars Battlefront games duking it out. The 2004 original and the 2018, it's not even a remake. I don't know what you call it. It's just, the one from EA versus the one from Pandemic.
Yeah. I think it's pretty obvious, but
you might be surprised. We'll see.
I might be surprised.
Yeah.
I might be surprised.
The 2004 one is old enough to where people might not have played it, or, I don't,
Oh man.
And also Star Wars isn't as big as it used to be either. So it could go either way. It's anybody's ball game, or wrestling match in this case. But we're going to want those comments by 8:30 Central Time on August 21st. Once again, you can go and comment on the show thread for episode 182 at pixelbit.com. You can DM us on Twitter at NWPcast, or you can go to facebook.com/nerdswithoutpants podcast and send us a message or post on our wall there, and we will get it. Really hoping for a lot of engagement this time, just because I really want to hear from you guys. It'd be really cool for this one, do something slightly different.
Yes, absolutely.
But we'll go ahead and wrap this sucker up. Holy crap. Short. We did it. We did it, Justin.
We did it.
Holy shit.
We fucking did it.
Yes.
We thought we were going to do it last time, and then we didn't do it.
We super didn't do it last time.
I know, we super didn't, but we were so close. We thought we had it. I know we did.
Yeah.
You and I both felt the same way, and then we did.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh.
All right. Well, you can always find us on the Twitter, Justin.
I'm at Tyrone_Swift, and you can tweet my other podcast at Clickbait Update.
Yes. I would like to say, if you, for some reason, are not on the Clickbait Update bandwagon, Justin had Mike Fallick from,
yes,
Hackthought Podcast, and also many guest appearances on here on the show, and that was fucking hilarious. So
it was a damn good episode, and our next episode we have one of the best emails that I've ever read.
Excellent.
It's my favorite thing. I can't wait to read it. It's gonna be great.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at Julian_Titus. Once again, you can find the show at NWPcast. Our theme song, Relax, and interstitial tracks, To the Max and Moody Grooves, come to us from Megan McDuffie. Just search everywhere for Megan McDuffie and you will find her and tell her what an awesome job she's doing with music.
She's great.
She's amazing. And that is going to do it for this episode of Nerds Without Pants. So for myself and Justin, thanks for listening. Keep it pantsless, internet, and wash your goddamn hands. Goodbye. Before we get into the last segment, I need to use the restroom. be right back.
Absolutely. Do you mind if I?
No.
Oh, no. Actually, I'm gonna sit here because if I get up and go, the dog will be disturbed. So I don't want to do that.
Gotcha.
So I'll be fine.
Touche.
All right. No, you're good, man. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, babe, you're a fine girl. What a good dog you will be. Abby, she's a sleepy dog. She likes to sleep all day, sleep all night until she chews shit up. 'Cause she's a son of a bitch like that. But she's very good for me because I think she likes me more than other people. That's a song. Written and directed by Justin Ham. Thank you. Nobody will ever hear this. It's fine. I'm sorry. I did not mean to wake you. Sleep, dog. Sleep. For tomorrow, we take over the world. Absolutely. Abby.
All right, are you ready for an hour-long cage match discussion?
Is that what are we going to have that?
No.
I was going to say I doubt it.